All right. In true Eggy fashion, I am late. I overslept and I am late. As one does. As one does. Okay. Hi Eggy. Hello. Hello. As one does. I am awake now. Finally happened. It finally happened. Ah. I don't know. It's like I went to sleep last night at like a normal time. And then I don't know. I guess I just didn't sleep very well. I did the thing where I woke up, I snooze the alarm, go back to sleep. Honk shoe. A whack. With the alarm that I just snoozed. So I like snooze the alarm like 4 times, and eventually I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty awake. I can probably turn it off. I can probably like permanently turn it off, and then I fell back asleep. I don't know why. The like turning off my alarm feels like such a gamble, of like not snoozing it, but like fully turning it off. Feels like such a gamble where I'm like, am I actually awake? Am I actually awake, or am I gonna like unknowingly? Because if I unknowingly fall back asleep, then like then it's over. It's completely over. It's over. It's over. Okay, hold on. Let's use a physical alarm or your phone. I use an alarm clock, which is hooked up to my phone. It also shines a bright light in my face. When it goes off. Um, but yeah, no. I mean, I guess I could always use my phone as like a backup, but like at some point it feels a little weird. I don't know. Maybe you know what I need to do? Maybe this will be painful and I will hate it and I will instantly go back to doing what I was doing before. But I'm thinking what I should do is like move, because I have the alarm clock right next to my bed, right? And I'm like, maybe I need to move this clock like across the room so that like when it goes off, I have to physically get out of bed um and go to it and turn it off instead of just like, you know, smacking it without getting out of bed and just going back to sleep. It sounds painful and I will hate it. It will work, but I will hate it. He clearly uses alarm mode. No, it's just a normal clock. I don't know. This one is like I got it on Amazon. I kind of wish it was more customizable though. I wish I could customize what sound I put. They don't you can only use the pre-made ones. I'm sure there's probably a way to like jailbreak your alarm clock or something. But like I don't know. I wish I could put in like custom music or like custom sounds. Yeah. You need to create an alarm clock that sprays pepper spray directly into your eyes when it goes off. I don't think I would be I still have to go places. Get the alarm clock that's a little robot that rolls around the room and you have to chase it. Oh yeah, I think I heard about those when I was a kid. Do they still make them? Do they still exist? I remember reading about that as a kid, as like just like silly novelty thing. Thank you, random moose brains. Thank you for sprouting. But you know what? Okay, hold on. Before I continue yapping, so that we're not on the waiting screen for 9,000 years. Let's turn on music. Where is Eggy? I look for 3+ streams before I have to follow, so hello. I mean, I'm impressed that you managed to be here for 3+ streams without following. I guess maybe if you follow on Twitter and you know when people are live. Honestly, oh, and thank you, Adam. Thank you. Honestly, I don't even know when the people I follow are live sometimes. Or sometimes, you know what? Does YouTube ever do the thing where like it recommends you a stream that's upcoming? So it'll be like, here's streamer you like, streaming this thing at this hour at like, it'll be like 7 p.m. and it'll be like, this stream is happening at like 9:30 p.m. and you're like, okay, maybe I will watch that when it happens. And then 9:30 rolls around and you've already completely forgotten. Yeah. I have another idea. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of that. But yes, good morning to Jake and Mashingetto and Pembu and Fate Crate and Deffins and Panis and Ponric and Slime Molder and Ego Angel and Liz Chicken and Getter Pilot. Hi Eggy, hello. And I already said Pembu. And Opil and Bennyverse and Random Moose Brains, which I already deleted. Yep, there we go. And also Super Manny Gamer on YouTube. Yeah, schedule a tweet with some embarrassing information about yourself so you feel more motivated to whack at the right time to turn off the tweet. I don't know. I'm actually very... I don't have... The thing is that, like, it's a difference between body and mind, right? Right? I think the music might be too loud. Is the music too loud? Well, the music is too loud in my ears, so, but that's a new problem. Hold on. BGM a bit loud compared to Egg? Okay. There we go. Okay. Sorry. I think it went from like a quieter song to like a louder song, and I was like, ugh. Are we playing Katamari? Not today. We are just yapping. I need to... I need to... remember how to stream. She will never game. I don't know. I probably won't game tomorrow, and then I'm busy this weekend. I will game Monday. It's okay. Monday, everything will be back to normal. We have internet. We have games. Games will return, just not this week. There we go. Appears, disappears. Okay. Majora Monday. Nah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Majora will be Tuesday, because okay. Aside from the internet going out for like a week, a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have happened. That's why I'm also just like yapping today, because there's just too much to catch up on. So. First big thing to catch up on. I will be eggployed for a brief period of time. I will be eggployed. I have found eggployment for like 2 months. It's a seasonal job. But, it's a seasonal job. So I will be busy for November, December. January I will be unemployed again, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. A whole week is pretty crazy. Hope they reimburse you. Well, okay. Here's the thing. I'll get back to the job thing. I'll explain it later. Spirit Halloween employee. No, it's November, December. It is seasonal, and it's for a thing that ceases to exist when the season is over. So, yeah. Again, come January, I will be uneggployed again. But at the very least, I will be making money for the duration of November and December. So streams might be a little more sparse or irregular in November, December. But that is the situation. Not a Christmas off. I guess it's sort of Christmassy. Oh, and thank you for the 500 bits. I am not going to be Santa Claus. I guess it's sort of Christmassy, but it's not really Christmassy. But yes. Went for a job interview today. Hopefully eggployed soon as well. Well, interview is one step closer. I hope you are also eggployed soon. Working at the Christmas tree farm. I'm not working at the Christmas tree farm. I'm working at the shopping mall. But yes. So, internet. What happened with the internet? So, it appears what we think happened is that in an attempt to make my grandma's home phone bill cheaper, my aunt unintentionally cast a curse upon our house and made our services unusable. She didn't mean to do it, and I think it's more it's not really her fault as much as it is the fault of the person on the phone who was helping her when doing that, for like not thoroughly explaining what was actually happening. So basically what happened was that my aunt was looking at my grandma's phone bill and was like, okay, you're paying a lot for home phone. You should not be paying this much for home phone. I'm gonna call them and, you know, bother them until they make the phone bill cheaper. So she did that. But the problem was that in order to make it cheaper, they somehow opened a second account for my grandma. So basically, it's like now our house had 2 accounts. We did not know this at the time. And soon after, all our services stopped working. So phone stopped working, internet stopped working, TV stopped working, just nothing. And we were trying to figure out why. So at first, like, you know, last week when I said the internet was out, I was like, okay, I'll have to go get a new router. So I went to get the new router, install the new router doesn't work. We call again, we order a new router, because apparently the ones that are from, that you, like, pick up at the store sometimes don't work. So they're like, okay, we'll ship you one, it will be brand new, it will work. So, it came in on Monday? It came in on Monday. Or was it Tuesday? Today's Thursday. Came in on Tuesday. We install it, it doesn't work. And so we call customer service. And we're like, hey, we can't, well, okay, it sort of worked. That's the thing with the one that we got, was that it sort of worked. But the problem was that it was either working for home phone or it was working for literally everything else. So we called the service and we're like, hey, this isn't working. And then they ask us, hey, which account is this for? And we're like, what do you mean, which account? Like, there's only one account. And they're like, nope, there's 2. So what seems it happened is that, like, some of the services were moved to a second account, but in order to have a second account for a house, you need to have a second, like, fiber connection or something, which we only had 1. So that's why it was, like, basically, I guess stuff was hooked up to the wrong account, which is why we weren't getting anything at all. So it's all fixed now. There's 2 accounts now, but they moved home phone back onto the first account, so it looks like we're okay in that regard. Because I was on the phone yesterday, I was like, okay, please just put it back to what it was before. I don't know, just is there a way to, like, just undo the changes that were made? Like, so everything's back on 1 account, but the second account still exists. So I'm a little concerned if they're gonna bill us for, like, 2 accounts. But I guess we're gonna cross that bridge when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah. Yeah, I accidentally set up 2 accounts with an ISP once and did not realize this until I tried to cancel the service. Yeah. But again, I think it's not really my aunt's fault. I think it's more like the customer service's fault for not, like, actually thoroughly explaining, like, hey, we're making a second account for the same house. Here's what that means, right? Like, you will need a second connection. You will need a second fiber. Like, somebody will have to call and install that. Like, you know, I think that it's kind of on them for, like, not properly explaining it. And I'm also confused as to how, like, initially when I went to go pick up the first router, because I called customer service first and I was like, hey, router's not working. And then they did a bunch of tests, and then they said, go pick up another one. So I'm really curious about how they didn't catch that. Like, I mean, to be fair, maybe it actually was the router, though, because there was a hot moment there where, like, the router or, like, the Wi-Fi wasn't working. But the TV was working, and the computer was working. I can't remember if the home phone was working at the time. But there was, like, a period of time where, like, the Ethernet connection was working, but the Wi-Fi wasn't. Like, so maybe there actually was something wrong with the router, but then when we went to replace it, then, like, that's when everything was just mean and bad and nothing worked. But I'm just curious about how, like, we went that long, like, through that many customer service interactions, and they didn't notice that we had 2 accounts, and they didn't ask us about it. That's what I'm confused about. I'm like, did they just assume we already knew? Yeah, with the installation fees that would have come with that, seems like it wouldn't have lowered the bill. Exactly, that's what the, one of the technicians, because I sent 2 technicians yesterday, because it is apparently, because this was 2 different accounts, they're like, yeah, we're sending 2 different guys. And that's what one of the guys was saying, is that, like, this wouldn't save money anyway, because, yeah, it would cost money to get a second thing installed, right? Like, I don't know. One of the guys that came yesterday, because one of them was there for the phone, technically to fix the phone, and one of them was technically there to fix like internet TV. And like the guy who was fixing the phone was like very polite, and then the guy who was fixing the TV was like, ugh, what did customer service do this time? But yeah, so that's what happened with internet, but we're back. It's back. Some people yesterday when I said that it was back was like, oh, will it be good on your computer? The answer is I don't know. But after what we dealt with in the last week, I would simply prefer to perish than ever make any changes to any internet or phone in this house. So I could, like, I don't know, maybe someday I'll get a second router. We'd need like a second Ethernet port, I think. Because I think the only port that we have in the house is the one that's being used for the router right now. Stream quality appears to be good. Yeah, it's just like, okay, so my computer right now is... So, the router is in the living room upstairs. I am in the basement. My room is in the basement. My room is pretty much directly below. Like, this is the closest you can get to the router without being on the main floor. Like, I am directly below the Wi-Fi router. So, the problem is if I want to move the computer to a different room, which I am hoping to be able to do at some point, I would need a second router because the Wi-Fi just, like, doesn't reach that new room. Like, the room is better in every other way, but, like, I would need a second router. Good morning, Eggy. Good morning, Shinix. At my old place, I had a Wi-Fi repeater that I don't need anymore. I can give that to you. That might help. How does that work? I don't know if I've ever used one. Because, yeah, like, there are rooms in this house in the basement where I just, like, cannot get a connection. Like, the bathroom, if I bring my phone to the bathroom while I have, like, a YouTube video or something playing, it just, like, stops loading. It just stops loading. But yes, hello, Beppa. Hi, Beppa. Hi, Beppa. Hi, Beppa. Lots of things are happening. Lots of things are happening to the Eggy. I am eggployed. Oh yeah, I started Japanese classes too. I started Japanese classes. That wasn't like a thing that happened because of the lack of internet. Like, I had been planning to take them for a while. I had been signed up for a while. But, yeah, I started studying Nihongo again. I did my homework. You know what it is? You know what the thing is? Because you know when you're in school, like when you're in like college or high school and you're like, ugh, homework, I have homework. And then like, I guess when you're like taking a class as an adult, where you're like taking this out of your own like free will, right? Where you're like, yes, I am taking a class. I am taking a class for fun and for the enjoyment of learning. And then the teacher's like, okay, you have homework. And you're like, oh my god, I have homework. I have homework. I was like excited to do my homework. I was like, homework, I haven't done that in years. I have homework. I went to the library. I did my homework at the library. Yeah, she started studying the blade with the free time from No Internet. Well, okay, to be fair, I technically had access to the internet, but it was only on my phone. So, I could still, like, check Twitter and stuff, but, like, I couldn't stream, right? Like, I couldn't do, and, like, I did manage to, like, hotspot, from my phone to, like, use my phone as a hotspot for my laptop once or twice, but I didn't want to do that too much because I didn't want to be, like, spending a ton of data on, yeah, I only had small internet. Like, I only had the internet that lets you check stuff, I didn't have the internet that lets you make stuff, if that makes sense. Like, I wonder if the novelty will wear off after a few weeks. Well, it's not like a ton of homework. It's like one worksheet. A single worksheet. Egg? Yeah, egg. Hello, Shala, on both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. But yeah, it wasn't like a ton of homework. That was the other thing too. Like, It was a very reasonable amount of homework. Because, like, this is a class that's, like, taught for, like, working adults, right? So I think the teacher assigns homework with the assumption that you have, like, other responsibilities in your life. As opposed to, like, school, where teachers are like, you're a student in school. You clearly have nothing else going on, probably. So we are going to assign homework accordingly. Sounds like enrichment. Egg-richment. Yes, good morning, Baxter Crook. As opposed to Eggy living off the basement lifestyle. Well, okay, to be fair, also getting a job that was also something that I applied for when I still had internet. That was not a result of not having internet. If anything, oh, thank you, Azure Shot.
Azure Shot.
No more
just
internet
bloomed.
jail. Yes.
No more
free
no
Eggy.
internet
Free
jail.
Eggy.
NiceEggy squid.
Yeah. Very cute egg. I shall give you a follow. Thank you. But yeah, no, getting a job, if anything, not having internet made getting a job more complicated. Thank you, Shala. Thank you, Shala. But yeah, like, I had to do a job interview from, like, a coffee shop. I had to, like, go to a public place, and I mean, I got the job, so I guess it couldn't have made that bad of an impression. I felt really self-conscious because, like, the only seat that I could find in the cafe that had, like, some level of privacy and also a plug was, like, one that was, like, facing the bathroom door. So I felt really bad because, like, I had the background blurred, but, like, throughout the interview, I was seeing in my own, like, little view thing of just, like, people walking past the table into the bathroom. And I'm like, I don't know, does that come off as unprofessional? Like, it was the only place I could find where I could plug in my computer. It wasn't just, like, super out in the open. But I got the job, so evidently that couldn't have been that bad. Yes, thank you, Shala. And thank you again, thank you, Azure, for blooming for 21 months. Thank you. When you're taking 3 different classes, that will assume you can dedicate your entire life to them. Yeah! I remember that was, like, the case in both high school and university of everyone, like, I don't know, I guess it's just, like, also, like, and this was actually more of an issue, I think, during COVID classes than it was during, like, regular classes. Because I don't remember having this problem to this degree, but I remember during, like, everyone agreed, during that one semester that was completely online, I remember talking about other people, like, about this, like, during a group project work time, and everyone's like, okay, is it just me, or are they assigning, like, insane amounts of homework? Because I feel like, the one COVID semester that we had was, like, we had so much work, like, just, like, overwhelming amounts of work, and I don't know if it was, like, teachers trying to compensate for the lack of class time, or if they were just like, well, everything's closed right now, so you probably have nothing else to do. Have some more homework. But, like, yeah, what else are you gonna do? Well, the thing is that, like, people still had jobs. I remember, like, I was working on a group project, and there was one person who was, like, you know, mature student, and they were like, yeah, I have a family. Like, I just because I'm not working, just because things are closed does not mean that I don't have, like, a ton of stuff to do. Like, I have other things going on in my life. And even for me, I was working at the time too. Like, that was, like, a very overwhelming semester. So yeah, it was like, all of us were just like, yeah, this is, like, insane. This is insane. But yeah, so I don't remember having that problem quite to the same degree during, like, normal school times, but I don't know, sometimes still. I think, I don't know, maybe that was just my program, though. Maybe that wasn't, like, an issue for other programs. Sorry, I'm, like, clicking a pen here. I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe you can't hear it. Is this audible? Is this audible at all? Oh yeah, it probably is. It probably is. I don't know. I only fidget with things you're not supposed to fidget with. Stimming pen. I don't know, this is a pink gel pen from Muji. What are you gonna blow your first paycheck on? I don't know, I'm like trying to save-ish. Because I calculated it. So the job actually pays more than I thought it would. I feel weird saying this because it doesn't feel like it should be true. And I also know that this is also due to, you know, various things like I have more experience now. This is a seasonal job. Inflation, and also I'm living in a different city now. But like, this is breaking my record for the most I've been paid hourly, which feels weird. Like, I'm realizing, I'm like, was I really, really underpaid at my previous job? Because I'm being paid more for this. I'm gonna be paid more for this than I would have been for my previous job. Like, it's $1 more than what I was making at my previous job. Now, it's only gonna be for a few months, but I'm still just like, is that allowed? Can they do that? Can they do that? Like, I don't know, I'm like, was I being, like, supremely underpaid? Because even back then, that was, like, also breaking the record for the most money I had ever made per hour. It's allowed, Rev, I'm fine. Yeah, well, I guess it's just, like, I don't know. I don't know how much you're supposed to make per hour anymore. Because, like, I remember the first time I got paid more than minimum wage. I had a job that paid, like, it was like minimum wage at the time was like $16, and I think I was being paid, it wasn't even that much more than minimum wage. I was being paid like $16.50 or something. Like, it was just like marginally above minimum wage, and I was like, whoa. Whoa, I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy. And then eventually later I got a job that paid like $20 an hour, and I was like, whoa, they can do that? Yeah, my first minimum wage job was $8.25. I think my first minimum wage job was like, I think it was like $11.75 or something was minimum wage at the time, something around there. Because I know there's been like a few pretty big minimum wage jumps where I live in the past like decade. Because yeah, I've been working for pretty much exactly 10 years now that I think of it. Like, I started my first job, it was around, I guess around this time of year in 2015. Yeah, 2015. So yeah, this would have been, I've been working for roughly 10 years, give or take. But yeah, mine was under 10. But yeah, I think it was like, actually no, I think when I started it was like $11.25 because I think they had like different wages for like students versus like normal wages. But then I think soon after they just like, they changed that anyway, so. Well, technically my first job was baseball umpire. When I was 13, I got paid $20 a game. Well, actually, technically, I babysat when I was 14, and I don't remember what I spent my money on. But yeah, no, I think, I don't know how much people are supposed to get paid anymore. When I quit Best Buy, I remember the kids getting hired at like $13 and all of us were like, why do you need that much money? I don't know, because I think right now, yeah, right now minimum wage is like it's like $17 or something now? I know it's gone up recently. I know it's gone up recently. Because my grandma keeps getting newspapers that say that. My first job was a TA and I made a whopping $40 a week. Was that like adequate at the time? Was that like, how much was that worth at the time? Like, what could you get with $40? Because I'm trying to think, like, at the time that I was making, hold on, how much is a Tim Hortons iced cappuccino now? I'm sorry, this is like the most Canadian metric to use, but like, how much does it cost right now? Okay, so, okay, small ice cap, though. How much does a small ice cap cost? So, a small ice cap right now in our current day and time is $3.29. For comparison, I remember when I first started working, I believe an ice cap cost $2.50. If I remember correctly. It was $2.50. And then, I guess minimum wage was like, you know, $11-ish. That was when I first started working. So how that like actually like shakes out, I'm not really sure, but yeah. Oh, and thank you for paying your taxes. Thank you. Thank you for preventing more inflation. I had a kid straight up copy paste a Wikipedia article in his paper. He didn't even get rid of the titles or notation numbers. Oh, for TAing? Yeah, I never was a TA. I was never a TA. I don't know if I was like... Because I feel like a lot of the TAs for my classes were just like students the professors knew well enough. And I don't think I knew any of my professors well enough. Oh, and thank you, Panis, for paying your taxes. Minimum wage went up yesterday even. Oh, so like the changes are very recent. What is it even now? I don't even know what it is now anymore. What is the current minimum wage? It is now $17.60 per hour in EGGY province. $17.60. Yeah, 17. Okay, that feels, I don't know. I know it's not that much in the grand scheme of things, but I'm also just like, that feels really high. $17.60 eggs per hour. Canadian dollars, which is admittedly not that much in USD, but I don't know. Sometimes I get a nice, pleasant surprise because on Twitch, right? When I look, like when Twitch gives me a payout, right? It does so in USD, which means that like sometimes there'll be some months where it's like you have made $80, and I'm like, okay. And then I will like actually get the payout, and I will see it in my PayPal where it's been like converted to Canadian dollars, and it's like, oh no, actually this was like 100-something Canadian dollars, and I'm like, yay, yippee. I don't know. It's like me when I have to spend money when I'm in the States and everything's more expensive, and I'm like, ugh. And then like me when I get paid in USD and everything becomes more, and I'm like, yay. Yeah. Interesting how it's higher for employees who work from home. Wait, really? I didn't even realize there was a separate minimum wage for that. I guess that makes sense though, because if you're working from home, I imagine there's probably like certain expenses you have to make and certain startup costs, right? Like you have to pay for internet at home, and you also have to pay for like you know, if your company's not giving you the equipment, which usually most of them do, but like I imagine you have to have like your own like desk and stuff, right? So yeah, I had to grade a short and class essay on a reading they had to do, and I had kids write nonsense that I was forced to read. I failed them once. One time I had a kid write, I didn't do the reading, and drew a cool looking dinosaur on the paper. I gave him a D grade. Like, thank you. Thank you for the honesty. I mean, that's fair. That's honestly, I feel like I'd rather just have somebody be like, yeah, I didn't do the reading, I don't know what I'm talking about, rather than try to like make something up and then you still have to read it. I remember making 15 USD an hour like 10 years ago to assist an organ turner. I was like, wow, this guy is generous. And it was a super easy job, just holding down keys. I mean, I guess you needed like a specialized knowledge though. Organ tuner? You probably needed someone with like specialized knowledge, right? Like, yeah, maybe it was like hold down these keys, but like I guess if you wanted somebody who knew like why they were doing what they were doing. You are smart. Kind of, but just knowing a whole tone scale. I don't know, you might underestimate how good or not how good, but like how much the average person knows about music. Also thought internal organs. No, I thought the instrument. Get rotated, nerd. Turns heart upside down. Get rotated. No, I was thinking organ, like the instrument. Like the drrrr. You know. The organ. The organ. Yeah, you got me. I don't know what a tone scale is. See, exactly. Like, you might underestimate or overestimate how much... I don't know. I think we all overestimate how much the average person knows about anything. Like, again, I've talked about this before when I'm like, I'm surrounded by people who are good at singing. So I, like, keep overestimating how good the average person is at singing. And then I go to, like... Again, I go somewhere where people are singing, but, like... It's not people who have studied music, and I'm like, oh, right, okay. Ella XKCD. Ah, yes, that one. But it's the same thing I think I see this a lot with all sorts of people, right? Like, I see us so much with, like, artists as well, where they're like, artists talk exclusively to other artists, and then they're like, oh man, my art sucks, and it's like, and then you, like, I don't know, witness somebody try to draw something basic, and you're like, oh, right. Oh, right. Like, you really underestimate or overestimate how... I guess it depends who you're exposing yourself to, right? I go to weekly trivia. I severely lack in pop music, sports, and history. Ah, yes. I'm assuming you're also not very good at, connections. New York Times connections. Yeah, that Kugakiba is a full-on masterpiece. Yeah. Well, it's like... I think that's also the other thing too online, right? Is that, like, for the most part, people are only posting things that they think are good enough to show, right? So, I feel like I've seen this a lot with, cosplay, because I've had people tell me, they're like, I want to do cosplay, but I don't think I'm pretty enough, and I'm like... Again, if you're only looking at cosplay from what you see online, I can see how you get that impression, because, like, obviously the people who are posting their cosplays online are, like, you know... the people who are either very pretty or very skilled and are, like, you know, putting things together. Usually those are the people who are posting, right? Like, normal person who, you know, looks average and puts a normal amount of effort into their costume isn't going to be, like, posting that super everywhere or getting a lot of attention for it, right? But if you go to conventions and you realize they're like, actually most people look normal. Most people look normal. The people who are, like, super hot or super skilled are, like, kind of in a... It's a different league, right? See, I'm the opposite. I was complaining to my friend about a new model painting technique I tried. Turned out, man, they hit me with the "you're better than me." Like, what, you're saying I'm better at something I've done more than you? Whoa, yeah, I can't believe practicing makes you better at stuff. I've returned to inform a fellow internet trader they're not safe for my drawing wrath. Wrath. Or people can use the makeup item to look super hot temporarily. Yeah, that too. But that's also a skill, right? Like, you know, it's not like makeup has two settings where it's like makeup on and makeup off, right? Like, it's a skill. You put it on and then you look different. Yesterday, my dad, because my dad is visiting right now, and he brought over my makeup table. Because I had, like, a little, like, vanity table that was, like, sitting in my room, and my mom was tired of it being there. So she's like, yeah, he's gonna bring it over. But he also brought over all the stuff that was in the drawers of it, which means that there's a bunch of makeup that I hadn't been able to use in a while that I have now. So yesterday I did, like, a look with blue eyeshadow, and I'm like, whoa, very different egg. Very different egg. Because, yeah, like, there's different kinds of, like, I guess you do use makeup to look hotter, but, like, there's different versions of hot, right? Like, there's very many genres of pretty that you can become with makeup, right? Hi, Eggy, hi, Eggy, hi, Eggy, hi. Like, because for me, it's like, you know, winged eyeliner, like, you know, there's a genre of pretty that's like, you know, heavy lipstick, big winged eyeliner, and that's different from, like, you know, soft, glowy, blushy, which is a different genre as, like, you know, big eyelash, which is different genre, right? Like, it's all... There's many different genres of pretty, and you use makeup to become a different one, right? I think I only own blue/purple eyeshadow. Yeah, most of what I own is, like, brown-orange, I think. But I had, like, one palette that I bought, like, from NYX ages ago. And it's, like, I bought it for cosplay. I bought it for cosplay because it's one with, like, really bright colors, but it had blue in it. And I remember when I went to see Ado back in August, I wanted to do an eyeshadow look with blue, but then I realized I didn't have the blue palette with me, and I'm like, no! So I had to just wear normal makeup. So I did, like, the look that I would have done if I would have had the blue with me. But... I think I'm just self-conscious about cosplaying, like, Halloween in my area in Spider-Man, but in a coat or ninja in a coat. But I'm this anime character, but... What? Are you talking about, like, when it's cold on Halloween, and everyone just, like, puts on a coat? And they're like, I'm a princess, but now with a winter coat on. I'm Spider-Man, now with a winter coat on. I'm a ghost, now with a winter coat on. Yeah. You know, clearly the people who are good at art were born genetically better at arting than me. Clearly. There is no way anybody could ever become good through practice. Clearly, everybody who just has a skill, they just woke up one day and they had the skill. And they never had to do anything for it. Clearly. No internet jail. Yeah, I'm free. Yeah, just not a fan of buying an outfit that you'll wear once. That's fair, but you can always wear it twice. I think maybe the good thing to have is to strategize your cosplays, right? Like, instead of cosplaying a character that's trendy, sometimes if you want to have something that you can wear in the future, is to try and, like, find a character that has, like, either one that's already been popular for years, or one that you predict has a pretty decent chance of remaining popular into the future, right? So, like, I feel like a Miku wig is, like, a good investment, because Miku has been popular for years already, and will likely continue to be very popular, right? So, you know, you can get the Uma Musume uniform, cosplay every horse. Yeah, but you're gonna have to buy, like, 1 billion wigs. But also, a Miku wig can sometimes also be a good investment, because, like, there's a bajillion versions of Miku, right? So, like, you can reuse the wig for future costumes. Invest in Teto wigs now. Teto wig stonks going up. But no, I don't know. Usually I think of cosplays in the same way that you think of, like, special occasion wear, right? Like, usually when people buy, like, a fancy dress or a, like, tuxedo or something, usually you buy that with the intention of, like, yeah, I'm gonna wear this to, like, maybe 1 or 2 times ever, because, like, how often, like, how many times a year would you say you go to an event that requires that, right? So, yeah. I do want a Teto wig. I don't know, Teto wigs, the thing with Teto wigs that... okay, so Miku wigs and Teto wigs have, like, 2 separate issues, right? So Miku wig has the issue of, like, the pigtails are very heavy, so the wig can kind of hurt to wear after a while. Teto wigs have the issue of the twin tails have to be curly. Which I think complicates things a little bit. I go to about 1 wedding a year. I think I've worn the same dress to, like, 5. Well, the other thing, too, is I don't think anyone's gonna, like, call you out for wearing, like, the same dress to more than 1 wedding, right? Because people kind of, like, know you only have so many clothes. Yeah, the drill hair. Yeah. I don't know, I just know drill pigtails, like, any character with drill pigtails becomes, like, a nightmare for cosplayers, because no one has figured out how to make, like, drill tails not look weird in real life, but still look like drills. No one's figured it out yet. Don't be like me and invest in Geico Caveman cosplay. I don't know, I'm trying to think of, like, other good characters that would be, like, yeah, that's a good, worthwhile character, like, to invest in. Like, Miku will always be popular. I guess something like Naruto or Sailor Moon, or, like, any of the Dragon Ball characters, if that's what you're, like, if you're into any of those things. I guess, like, retro anime, well-known retro anime, you probably kind of can't go wrong with. Those will always kind of be relevant. I think of like other characters that have like maintained good popularity. I have one cosplay and it's Joker from Persona 5. That's a pretty good one. I feel like, again, they're still making merch for Persona 5 and they will continue to do so forever. So I feel like any of the Persona games you can kind of... Those will be relevant forever. Pokemon, yeah, Pokemon. I think anything that has like nostalgic value to enough people probably is a safe choice. But yeah. I guess don't cosplay a VTuber, I guess. Maybe is decent advice if you want something with longevity. Don't cosplay a VTuber. But other than that, like there's plenty of other things you can cosplay. That's something I never understood. There seems to be this prevailing idea among women they cannot wear the same fancy dress to more than one social event. Okay, I can explain this. And the answer is just that, like, suits, a lot of suits look similar enough that somebody could wear the same suit to every event and people might assume that it's a different suit. Or they just, like, wouldn't think anything of it, right? Especially for, like, black tie kind of events, right? Like, the men's dress code is pretty... Like, obviously there's things you can do within there, but, like, it's pretty, like, stringent, right? It's pretty stringent. Whereas I think for women, the number of different designs you can have that still qualify as fancy is a lot wider, which means that if you wear the same thing twice, people are more likely to notice. Especially if they're, like, close together. Rip Cinder cosplayers. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, okay, if your Oshi graduates, you can still cosplay them, right? Like, they're not dead, they're just graduated. But, like, if your Oshi sucks, then that's, like, a whole separate problem. You know? One moment. I should have taken better care of my suits. I let my cats go to them, and they did some noticeable damage. Did they, like, scratch it, or do they just get hair all over it? As a guy that owns a purple and black suit, I can confirm that I only wear the purple one, sometimes the black. Oh, so you got two, so you can at least alternate. I mean, I guess within menswear, too. Well, I don't know, maybe not for, like, black tie events. Because I was gonna say, you could maybe, like, swap out, like, the shirt or the tie. But again, if it's, like, super fancy tuxedo black tie, then it's gonna be, like, you know... It's gonna be just... It's just gonna be... It's just gonna be the same tie. It's gonna be the same. It's more stringent. Lena Inverse is back in for the 30th anniversary. Oh, is this for cosplay? Right. If you eat an egg, is it considered cannibalism? No, I am not an egg. I am an egg girl. The same way that, like, a cat girl is not a cat. I am an egg. Yeah. Go for some nostalgic cosplays like Yuri on Ice or My Hero Academia. It's been long enough. We can say Yuri on Ice is nostalgic. It's been 10 years? No, not 10 years. It's been like 9 years. They pulled some threads and it scrunched up some parts. Oh no. Evil meow meows. Yeah. I have a dark navy suit and that's all I got. That's not acceptable and I do not... I don't what's that one meme that I keep seeing with, like, the guy from Ratatouille where it's like, I don't shop, I don't try things on, I have one suit, and if I can't wear it, I don't go. Yeah. In egg news, I saw a half dozen eggs for 99 cents. Oh wow, that's a very good price for eggs. They're like clearance eggs or something? But yeah, because I had to shop for a wedding recently. I'm in luck because the dress code appears to be semi-formal. So I'm like, I was nervous, but I'm like, we're so back. So I have a friend who's getting married, and she originally told me, because I asked them, like, is there any dress code specifications? And she was like, this is a fall wedding. I would prefer if you wear, like, you know, earthy colors, earthy fall colors. So I went to the store, and I looked at the dresses, And every single dress that they had that was earthy fall colors was like the most boring thing I've ever seen. Or the few that like weren't totally boring were like, I didn't like how they looked on me. They looked like they did not look good on me. They did not fit properly. So what I ended up doing, I ended up looking, I was like, okay, different approach. What about if I get like pants and like a blazer, like a jacket? So I got that. And I found a thing that looked really good, and I sent pictures to like all my friends and family, and everyone's like, okay, this looks good. I'm not sure if this is technically formal. And I'm like, is this not formal? Is this not formal? It felt kind of formal. I mean, granted, maybe it's just because I don't wear dress pants and like blazer type jackets very often. I guess maybe it could read as more like, depending on how I style it. And I need jewelry now. That's my problem. I need accessories. But yeah, semi-formal is nice. Last wedding I went to, nice formal, so no tie. I approved. Yeah, I think the thing is, for me, is just that, like, I was looking at, like, dresses for fancy events for, you know, for women, and the dresses are so boring. They're boring. Have you, like, ever looked in, like, women's formal? Like, I know that you're not supposed to, like, outdress the bride. Eggy, drink water? Okay. But, like, they're boring. And also, too, that none of them are, like, good for the fall. Like, they're all just, like... Because this is, like, a wedding happening in, what, like, late October? And it's like, okay, would you like to, have a huge open-backed dress? Like, I don't know. There's a non-zero chance there could be snow on that day, but would you like to have a completely strapless dress with your entire shoulder showing? Like, I don't know why. The two choices for, like, women's formal dresses are just, like, entire shoulders or old lady. Those are your two options. They just assume that if you don't want to have your entire shoulder and, like, collarbone area showing, then you must be, like, 50 years old. Those are the assumptions they make. Yeah, it's supposedly the most popular month for weddings. Is it? I mean, I guess, I don't know. My parents got married in they had a September wedding. Like, their anniversary is in September. So yeah, but I guess maybe that is more common. I always thought spring or summer would be more common, but maybe that's just for, like, if people are running, like, outdoor weddings. But yeah, if I don't consider something a formal event, I will wear black jeans and a random t-shirt. See, I'm the opposite issue, where I overdress for every occasion, but unfortunately, as a woman, you should not overdress for a wedding. That's, like, the one thing you shouldn't do. Because, yeah, that's the other thing, too, is I was caught between, like... Because that's the other thing, too, is that, like, a lot of the formal dresses, like, even if they looked good on me, they didn't feel very... me. Like, I was looking at some of the dresses online that, like, were usually, if you Google, like, you know, woman's dress for as wedding guest, like, I would look at some of them and I'm like, I feel like if I showed up in this, my friends would be like, what's wrong with you? Because they just don't look like something that I would wear, right? Like, they would be, like, very plain, they would be, like, very, like, you know, there's just not a lot to them, and I'd just be, yeah, like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, if I showed up in this, my friends would be like, what are you, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Like, but also I didn't want to, like, I don't want to outdress the bride, you know? Oh, hey, she's back. I am. My internet has returned, and so have I. Yeah, I think for most of North America, October is nicer weather. Early on, I think, maybe. I think, again, for me, it's more like, I feel like in the places where I've grown up, like, June to September is, like, the only predictable times when the weather is, like, predictably nice, you know? I don't know. I don't like to stand out. See, I am okay with standing out. If anything, I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel weird when I hear people being like, oh, I want to wear, like, this thing, but I'm not pretty enough to wear it. I'm not, like, pretty enough to wear frilly dress. I'm not pretty enough to wear like EGGY or something. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel the opposite. I'm like, I'm not pretty enough to wear normal clothes. I wear normal clothes and I'm like, because like, I don't know. I guess I prefer to think of my body as just being like, this is the vessel through which I will perform fashion, as opposed to being like, I don't know. I do find the gender dynamic of weddings. The women seem to focus on the bride. The bride has to be prettiest, don't address the bride. Meanwhile, the man is me like, groom, you are the ugliest man I've ever known, I love you. Well, I mean, to be fair, the thing is also is just that, like, when it comes to, like, occasions and how to dress for them, again, I think that with men, it's like your choices are more narrow, right? Because, like, I guess there are ways you can make a suit more flashy or less flashy, but all in all, it's still gonna be a suit, right? The other thing, too, is I think there's also more rules, right? Like, they always say, like, you know, don't wear white, or don't wear the same color that the bride is wearing. But then, I don't think there's any such rule for the groom, right? Like, the groom can show up in a black tuxedo, and everyone else is also allowed to show up in a black tuxedo, right? Like, there's no specific rule like that regarding, like, color and stuff, you know? I also don't know what my friend's wedding dress will look like. I can't imagine it would be something super minimal, but I also don't know what her budget is. Yeah, the three-piece suit has been the standard for well over a century. Can we shake things up a bit? I don't know. We'll all get more creative with our wedding dress codes. I've always said, you know, if I ever get married, like, my wedding will basically be a competition. Not literally, but like, you know, I will just try to outdress me. I will be so frilly, I will be so detailed. Everyone else is welcome to try and outdress me if they're not a coward, but like, are they gonna succeed? Well, who's to say? I think my last wedding party managed to not outdress the groom by accident. We were at a hotel and the groom went to bed at like 9 p.m. Meanwhile, we got blackout drunk in the pool and didn't sleep, so all our suits were disheveled and an iron. I'm jealous of women because women usually get all kinds of clothing without being suspected of anything. I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, I remember seeing a tweet yesterday where someone was making that kind of complaint where they're like, yeah, men's clothing is like such like a narrow category. And like, but then I don't know, the only advice I have is like, you're just gonna have to be okay with being perceived as a little bit feminine if you want to like expand. And like, if enough people do that, then it won't be considered feminine anymore, right? Most flashy thing I own is a pink Kirby hoodie. That's like an average amount of flashy, I think. Like, if I saw somebody at the mall, I'd be like, oh, that's a Kirby hoodie, and then I don't think I'd be like, whoa, whoa. You know, I've always said, at my wedding someday, dressing nice is fine, but no matter what, if it matches or what, it's all tennis shoes wedding. Feet have to be comfy. Dress code is, like, fancy dress and sneakers. I mean, to be fair, okay, another unspoken advantage I think some women have is if you're wearing a floor-length dress where nobody can see your feet, you can get away with wearing, you know, not for the entire time, but like, if you're standing for a while, you can kind of get away with wearing more comfortable shoes, because if no one's really gonna be able to see your feet anyway, then like, you can kind of get away with that. I know my sister actually once had a, I think my sister's definitely done this for like when she's had to do like performances that were in like fancy clothes, where she would like, she'd have like a floor length dress and she would wear like sneakers, and then when she was about to go on, she would change into like fancier, you know, more fancy shoes, and then once she was off stage, she would just change back into the sneakers, and you know, nobody could tell the difference because floor length dress. Yeah, most of my clothes are black or white, so I don't do that on purpose. I didn't even notice till my sister said something. Rose monochrome. Yeah. Maybe even without shoes. No, I think if you had no shoes, people would notice. And also that would probably hurt. I don't know. But like, yeah, you can wear sneakers and like you'll probably get away with it for a decent amount of time. Yeah, would you complain? I mean, after a fancy party or wedding, how many times have you gotten home and just like, phew, your feet hurt? I mean, yes. But on the other hand, I also am willing to suffer for the sake of being fashionable. I literally love uncomfortable shoes. I love uncomfortable shoes. We back Eggy. Hello, Mixed Patch. Good morning. Good afternoon. It's 12:58. Good afternoon, I guess. My band friend in high school wore sweatpants under his dress pants for every performance. It drove everyone up a wall. What do you mean, like, under his dress pants? Were his dress pants just, like, really loose? Because, like, I've also heard of, like, people wearing... Because, like, I don't know, if you're wearing, like, a floor-length dress, unless it's something super fitted, like, for women, you could probably get away with, like, wearing sweatpants underneath. For what purpose, I'm not sure. I guess maybe as, like, preventing thigh rubbing, I guess. But you wore dress pants over sweatpants. Were they, like, really, really thin sweatpants? Yeah, that's what I'm like, because aren't dress pants usually, like, measured to, like, fit your waist? Did he, like, lose a bunch of weight all of a sudden, and now he just needed to look like his pants fit or something? Maybe for pockets? Yeah, but you couldn't use them within the pants, right? They were pretty small, but he was a pretty small guy in general. I guess if you can get away with it. I feel like that would look a little bulky. I feel like that would, like, cut off your circulation, but maybe that's just me. Because, like, I could totally see someone wearing, like, leggings or, like, really thin joggers or even, like, long underwear underneath dress pants. I could see that. Because then it's just like, okay, I want to be warm. It's cold out and I want to be warm. But, like, I don't know. Full-on sweatpants, I don't know. Because, like, under a dress, definitely doable if it's a long dress. But, like, underneath pants? Like, pants under your pants? Like, I know everyone already wears underpants. Like, I know that I know that that's already a thing. But... yeah. Dress pants alone are comfy. I also never get cold, so I don't think about that. Honestly, I think a lot of times... I feel like everyone's definition of comfortable is a little different. Because, like... I've definitely worn dresses that I would describe as comfy, right? Because, like, you know, maybe they're nice and loose, and they don't have anything that, like, pulls or tugs or, like, you know, it's comfortable. But, like, if anything, I think there are more comfortable dresses than there are comfortable pants. But I know that that's something people would argue with me on. I don't know, in high school I remember somebody telling me that, like, because I mentioned I was wearing jeans, and then we were talking about that, and I was like, yeah, jeans are pretty comfortable, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, for them, jeans were uncomfortable. But, like, I don't know, I always consider jeans to be, like, relatively comfortable. Like, unless they're, like, a super stiff denim, then, like, they're probably not too uncomfortable, right? And same with, like, most dress pants. Like, I don't know. I think for me, as a kid, I did not like wearing dress pants. But I think that was, like, that was for different reasons. Like, I didn't like wearing them because I didn't like how they looked on me. It wasn't so much like were they comfortable to have on as much as, like, was I comfortable wearing them? Like, did I like how I looked in them? Did you see a video that reminded me of you? It was like a short dress for winter. She proceeded to pull down like 8 layers of skin color tights to stay warm. I have a pair, I think, not 8 layers, but I have a pair of like these like fleece thermal tights. I'll probably need to pull them out in like a month or two. I do have those for winter. So you can like expose leg without... The only thing is that when you get the ones that are supposed to be like skin tone kind of, it can look a little uncanny because sometimes it looks like, you know when the tights start to like bunch up or like wrinkle? Like, because it's the same color as your skin, it looks a little weird. Because it just looks like your skin is like wrinkling in weird places. But other than that, it's a good purchase to have. Yeah, women's jeans tend to be softer denim, I think. That's true, and I think usually they tend to be more stretchy. You know, for better or for worse. But I don't know, women's clothes being incredibly thin is also just like a problem everywhere, I think. I used to find jeans comfortable, but now I really dislike how they feel and how much they weigh. I don't know if they're heavy. But then again, I think I like wearing heavy clothes. I like wearing heavy clothes. I like when the material's thick, but also maybe this is also just like a woman problem where like women's clothes are just like super thin, so when you get something that feels like it has some weight to it, you're like, oh my god, finally. You're like, I don't know if this is good quality, but it certainly feels heavy, which makes it feel that way. I like jeans, but they also feel better when they're worn in and not stiff. That's true, I guess. I don't know, see, I have the other problem right now where the only pair of jeans I have right now that fits me is, like, has, like, it's stretched to the point that there's, like, holes in places that are too difficult to fix. So, yeah. I've never been a fan of, like, super stiff jeans, but I don't know. I think the other thing, too, is just for me is that, like, in terms of, like, having pants, is that, like, you know, if you gain or lose weight, and you're wearing skirts and dresses, you don't immediately need to replace all your stuff, right? Like, if you lose, like, 10 pounds, right? That will affect what pants you can wear. Or if you gain 10 pounds, right? That will definitely affect what kind of pants you can wear, right? But usually skirts have, like, because, like, for a skirt, usually the only measurement that really matters, unless it's like a really form-fitting one, is just the waist, right? So I feel like when I would gain weight, my skirts, I would be able to hold on to them for longer, whereas the pants would just, like, pants are so delicate. You gain like 3 pounds and your pants are like, not anymore. Women wearing men's clothing like Goku wearing weighted clothing. Honestly, okay, I'm trying to think, because, like, I have a bunch of t-shirts from Uniqlo that, like, I like them because they feel heavy, but I don't know if they were intended to be women's shirts or men's shirts, because I bought them from the, like, UT section, like, when they do collabs. So they're probably kind of meant to be kind of unisex, but I like when they're heavy. I like when they're heavy. Like, women's clothing is so thin. Why do you think women are like, the stereotype is that women are cold all the time? It's because our shirts are, like, half the thickness that yours are. I have these double knee jeans from Dickies, but they're incredibly heavy, but they are sturdy. Every other pair of jeans has holes in the knees. See, I've never had issues with holes in the knees. The problem is that the places I do get holes are, like, places that I don't want reinforced because that would make them, like, unwearably uncomfortable. Like, my problem is thigh rubbing. My problem is thigh rubbing in the upper thighs. And you don't want the upper thighs reinforced because that would also be painful to wear. So, Sup Marie, long time no oof. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the unintentional hiatus. The internet was gone for a while, but it's back. And so I am back. I had Gildan G5000 heavy cotton t-shirt to throw. Big shirt. Big shirt. Yeah, women's clothing is tissue paper. Yeah, yeah. Like, I definitely know women who, like, wear, like, when they buy t-shirts, they look for, like, men's t-shirts before they look at the ladies' t-shirts. You can't really do the same for pants unless you have, like, a very specific build, because, like, hips and stuff. Or, like, yeah, hoodies. Yeah, like, sweaters. I feel like I've found a lot of... I found sweaters in the men's section before. Like when I go to thrift stores if I look for sweaters at thrift stores, I will always go to the men's section as well because I feel like they also usually have good options. You know, color-wise maybe a little less, but like in terms of like thickness and size and weight, it's like, yes. This ISP router problem is going to return to my prediction. It will not. It will not. This was a different problem, Faye. This was a different problem. I talked about it earlier. But this was a completely different problem from the previous internet issues. Like, Eggy, drink water? Okay. I don't know, I used to wear women's trousers until I put on weight wrong. Yeah, I mean, I guess... Again, women's jeans are weird. I don't know. Shopping for pants is weird because they all look the same on the shelf. They all look the same until you put them on. Can you explain the problems in French? Oh my god. Vraiment? C'est quelle heure? Now, wait. Okay. Alors, le problème, c'était que ma tante, elle voulait que ma grand-mère pourrait payer moins pour le service du téléphone à la maison. Alors, elle a appelé la compagnie et elle a dit OK, est-ce que tu peux le faire moins cher? Et puis, ils l'ont fait moins cher. Ils ont fait que ça fait moins cher, mais pour faire ça, ils ont fait un deuxième compte pour ma grand-mère. Et le problème, c'était que quand on ne savait pas qu'il y avait un deuxième compte. Mais quand on a appelé au customer service, ils ont dit c'est pour lequel? Et puis on dit, tu veux dire quoi lequel? Il y en a seulement un, n'est-ce pas? Alors, le problème c'était que ils ont fait un deuxième compte pour la maison, mais il n'y avait pas une deuxième connexion. Ils utilisent la connexion fibre, je sais pas comment l'appeler en français. Alors, c'était Alors, le problème, c'était que on était connecté au mauvais compte ou quelque chose comme ça. Parce que jusqu'à hier, quand j'ai appelé et puis on a tout retourné à ce que c'était avant. Mais avant que ça, c'était un peu comme l'internet et télévision, tout ça était sur un compte et puis le téléphone c'était sur un autre. Alors, il y avait un problème, il y en a quelque chose où on pourrait avoir l'internet ou le téléphone. On ne pourrait pas avoir les deux. Alors, on a réglé le problème, c'est tout réglé maintenant. Mais il a pris combien de jours? Plus qu'une semaine, c'est comme 8 ou 9 jours. Can you say Vriska in French? Vriska? C'est une chose de Homestuck, n'est-ce pas? What's your favorite outfit to wear at the beach? Ben, ça fait très longtemps depuis que je suis allée à la plage. Je sais pas. Mais... Oui, ça c'était le problème avec l'Internet. C'était le human error. C'était une erreur faite par un humain. Ben, c'était pas vraiment une erreur faite par un humain. Mais c'était plutôt que... Quand ma tante a appelé originellement, il n'a pas vraiment bien expliqué le problème ou ce qu'ils allaient faire. Ils ont dit, on va faire un deuxième compte. Puis ma tante a dit, oh, ok. Mais ils n'ont pas vraiment expliqué ce que ça veut dire faire un deuxième compte. Et c'est comme... Parce que si vous avez un deuxième compte, il faut que vous avez une deuxième connexion, n'est-ce pas? Ouais. Ils ne l'ont pas bien expliqué. Et ça c'est pourquoi on n'avait pas d'internet ou de téléphone ou de télévision pour une semaine. Un sweatshirt est plus épais et plus ample qu'un t-shirt. Vrai. L'image de Dashi. Vrai. Oh, je devrais faire une version de True qui était comme Dashi avec un petit béret et baguette et ça dit vrai. Vrai. Un béret et baguette. C'est pas un béret. I heard Adachi. Oui, c'est le seul mot que t'as compris. Français, 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 français. Adachi. Français, 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 français. Fish fact number 7. Most fish don't get on land because they're aware of taxes. Okay. Ça fait que c'est 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, I think. Français, 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 français. Adachi. Français, français, français. French is the not like other languages of the Romance languages. Every language is the not like not like other languages of the languages. This language barrier, I must overcome it. No, I need to practice my French more. I remember, like, having an issue in job interviews, because, like, I guess I understand French pretty well, right? Like, if you say something to me in French, I will understand it. Speaking it is, like, a totally different ballgame, though, right? Because, like, there's been times in job interviews, because I say on my resume I can speak French, and then they would talk to me in French in the interview, and I would be like, je peux parler, français. Your French accent is fairly easy for me to understand. That's good. It's more just like picking words, you know? It's being able to like remember what the words are and what sounds natural. So, I don't know. Sometimes I've considered, I'm like, if I have to do another job interview in the near future to just be like, instead of being like, instead of just being like, speaking French all of a sudden, I'm like, I need to like do an entire French stream before so I remember how to speak French. Je n'ai pas de francois. What? My French reading is okay. Listening is bad, but speaking, I don't stand a chance. It's okay. Because like speaking another language, I think this is like one of those things where like people who don't study other languages never realize is that like how good you are at speaking a language is actually a completely different skill from how well you understand the language and how well you can write in the language, right? Because like I've seen some people, I feel like I see this a lot for Japanese, where I'll see people make fun of somebody who is like not a native Japanese speaker, and they'll be like making fun of their accent for like, you know, sounding super American or super un-Japanese when they speak Japanese. But it's like, no, that actually has nothing to do with how well they actually know Japanese. Like, there are a lot of people who like have a heavy accent because that's just kind of how their mouth developed. But like, you know, if you know the grammar, like, again, I think it's actually very normal for people who learn a language as a second language to have like bad pronunciation but impeccable grammar or like good writing. Whereas I feel like somebody in their native language is more likely to have the other way around, where they have like, you know, they sound fine when they're speaking, but then they write and it's just like full of, you know, spelling mistakes and grammatical mistakes. I know some Spanish, a good amount of ASL, a very tiny amount of Japanese. I really want to learn Japanese. Again, I mentioned it earlier, I'm taking Japanese classes. I'm continuing. Nihongo o benkyou tsuzukimasu. I'm pretty sure that's not good French for that, but if I said it perfectly, it wouldn't prove the point. Well, it's France. I don't know where you got francois from, because it'd be français. Yeah. I'm pretty good with the accents, but I can't put a sentence together. Yeah, that too. Like, I also know people who, like, study classical music, right? Especially for, like, opera. Because people who study opera will often have to study, like, German or Italian or, like, you know, other languages that, like, opera tend to be written in. And I've known people who, again, they don't speak German, but they can have like impeccable German pronunciation because they took a class on how to actually pronounce it. But they did it with the intent of doing so for like opera reasons, not for like, you know, going to Germany and speaking German reasons, you know? Like, it's like that. I need you to just teach me Japanese. I'm begging you. All I know is Gohan to Mizuku desu. I'm trying to think. Like, because the thing is like, I feel like with Japanese you need a lot of patience. I think people talk about like, oh, Japanese is a hard language for English speakers to learn, and I guess it is in some ways and not in some other ways. But also I'm coming at this from the point of view of somebody who like spent a solid chunk of her childhood learning French. So like, I've already learned a language, right? Because like, when you learn a language the first time, like when you're learning a language for the second time, not like I guess a third language. When you've already been through the experience of learning a new language, it becomes easier, right? Because you know what to expect of yourself, right? When you're writing poems in French, I don't even know if I can write poems in English. A lot of use of that international pronunciation notation. Yeah. But it's also just like a lot of like looking at the phonetics, and you're like, okay, when you see these letters in this language, that's how it's pronounced, right? As opposed to, oh god, English phonetics must be a nightmare, but yeah. Where I am, there are no classes. All I have is Duolingo pretty much, which is known for as horrid for learning Japanese. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you, Keith Buck Leo. Thank you for sprouting. I'm trying to think, because like, the thing with Duolingo is that it tells you what to do. And this is not just the case for Japanese, this is the case for all languages I've found. They tell you what to do, but they don't actually tell you why you're doing it, right? So they might say that like, kore wa ringo desu means this is an apple. And they'll tell you ringo means apple. And kore means this. And des is like is, right? But they don't tell you what wa is. And they don't tell you why you put wa, right? Or you might say ringo ga suki, and they'll tell you that ringo is apple and ski is like. But they don't tell you why it's ga, you know? They don't tell you why you're doing, right? They don't tell you why you're doing what you're doing. And it's AI, yeah, that too. I've seen some like sentences, like some screenshots recently of people who are like putting in the right thing and getting told it's wrong, or getting like example sentences that make no sense. So yeah, it's kind of deteriorating that way too. Yeah, in college I wanted to learn German and then Japanese, but didn't survive a single scary Bavaria teacher. Got filtered. Yeah, it's the same for instruments. Learning one is hard, and then after that it's really easy. Exactly. Actually, it's pretty similar, actually. Because, like, I think the thing with languages is a lot of people, if it's their first time, they don't know how it feels to speak a second language, in the sense of, like, you know, how fluent should you sound? When will you feel fluent? Like, you have to, when you're learning a new language, you also kind of have to get comfortable with not understanding everything, right? Like, you have to get comfortable with the fact that, like, there's gonna be stuff you're gonna miss, or that you're gonna misunderstand, and, like, that's fine. That's just part of the process, right? I think a lot of people, like, they'll do a listening exercise or something, and they'll get hung up on, like, oh, I didn't catch a lot of things. And it's like, yes, but did you catch the important things, right? That's what's important. Duolingo to learn the characters and using a textbook for the rest. But I need someone to help, like, keep me on track. Yeah, no, I have the same problem. I'm not good with self-study. Because there's a lot of resources out there for beginners, though. If you're going at it from the beginning, because I'm kind of at, like, an intermediate stage, which is, like, kind of awkward, because there's a lot of resources out there for beginners, right? And then once you hit more advanced levels. When you hit more advanced levels, you can just use stuff that's made for native speakers, right? Like, if you're studying for, like, JLPT N2, like, you can you can probably just use like regular books, right? Like you're at the level you can probably just read books. Whereas like the textbook doesn't teach characters. Actually, okay, I have another recommendation. I have to remember what the app is actually called because I think it's just called Kanji Study, which is not like a very useful. There's this one app that I got it years ago. What's the name? Can I find this in the App Store? My favorite app for practicing kanji, and I think you can also learn like katakana and hiragana with it. Although by the time I was using it, I was already past that. Google Play Store is being updated. Try again later. What do you mean? I can't access the Google Play Store? Okay, there's an app. It's called Kanji Study. It's made by like one guy. It's not like a corporate thing. It's like made by like one guy, to my knowledge. And it does cost money. Like it's free to download. And then I think like the basic kanji and like hiragana, katakana are free to learn. After that, I don't know how much it is. I think when I bought it, it was like $30 to like unlock the whole thing. It's probably more expensive now, but it's extremely worth it. It's insanely worth it. Like basically the thing I like with this app is that like it doesn't just, like it lets you practice writing as well as reading. So it's not just like it shows you, it does have like a flashcard study feature, but like it's not just like it shows you the kanji and you have to learn it. Oh, thank you, Kami55, thank you for sprouting. So, but it also lets you practice like writing it, which I find actually helps me remember it a lot better. That's my favorite. I've been using it since like 2019. I used it when I was in Japan to study. You can make like custom sets because you can divide them in a few different ways. Like you can divide them by like they can be categorized by like JLPT level or like Japanese grade school level or like there's a few other ones. Is it Poto Kanji Study? No, I think it's just called, I don't know what it's called in the App Store anymore because I downloaded it in like 2019. Let's see. If I just search Kanji Study, if I can find the one that I got. It's just called Japanese Kanji Study. It's by somebody named Chase Colburn. The logo says Kanji Study. It's like a brush stroke that says Kanji Study in the middle. It is, I don't know how much it costs now to unlock like all the kanji. And they've also added additional features that you also have to pay for. I haven't tried any of those yet, but it is, I cannot recommend this enough. This is like, like, if Mr. Chase Colburn wants to pay me to say this, then he can, but like, I'm also gonna say it for free. Like, this is like, the best one I've tried. It's the best one I've tried. Like, it just works really well. You can practice reading, you can practice writing. I know they added like a reading in sentences kind of thing. I wish there was more of a vocabulary thing, but I guess there's always Anki for that instead. But yeah, I think if you're just learning hiragana and katakana with it though, I think that's free. That is free upon download. I think even like the first like 80 kanji or something, like the very basic kanji are free. I don't think it's on iPhone. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I've only used Androids ever, so it might not be on iOS. But yeah, it is on Android. But yes, go to Whack Eggy and Eggplants. Hello, Unfathomer. The audio part of Anki really helps, and the use in sentences for the core 2K deck. Yeah, I used Anki for a while and then I fell off very hard. I think the thing is, what really helps is that you can't just do like memorization in isolation, right? Like, you can memorize all the words, but like, all the words that I remember from the Anki decks that I use are the ones that I saw somewhere else later. You know? Like, I had an Anki deck, and I had like a word, and then I was like reading something later, or I was scrolling Twitter, or I was like watching a VTuber clip, and then I saw somebody use that word, and I'm like, oh, it's that word. You kind of have to actually use it, is the problem, right? Like, it's not enough to just, like, put this stuff into your brain, because your brain's not going to remember it. or really understand what it means if you're not hearing it used, you know, in real life by people in real life. Yeah, an Anki deck sounds like a tech deck, but like off-brand. No, Anki is like a flashcard app. So it's, I believe, is Anki open source? I can't remember. But I know it lets you basically, like, you can download decks for Anki. And you can find them for all sorts of things. Like, you can find ones for, like, you know, basic Japanese words, or like specific categories of Japanese words, or like study for JLPT, whatever level it is, right? So, yeah. But yeah, you shouldn't be charged for learning. Unfortunately, teachers do need to get paid somehow. But yeah, that's usually, Anki is pretty common for people who are learning Japanese, or probably any other languages. They have flashcards for all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I found that, like, again, when you're learning a Rakugo play. See, I told you, speaking is my weak point. I'd have to have, like, a stream where I'd have to have Nihongo Haishin, where I only speak Nihongo for the entire stream. And everybody has to, like, listen to me struggle. Not sure what an Anki deck is. Only the Pokemon's on the Pokedex. The Anki decks, where you, like, memorize all your Pokemon. TTS is not working because I forgot how to use a computer after not touching it for a week. Here we go, I'll turn it on. Stream doesn't end until she can recite Jugemu perfectly. Yeah, but the thing is with Jugemu is like just like a bunch of words, right? Like they're not like they're not real words. They're like names and such. Yeah, it's Jugemu Goko no Surikide Kaijari Suigyo no Suigyo Matsu Undai Matsu Furai Matsu Kunneru Tokoro ni Sumu Tokoro Yabura Koji no Burakoji Papipo Paipo no Shuringan no Gurindai no Popopi no Ponpokopa no Chokime no Chosuke. But like the joke of that is that like they're not necessarily words. The joke is that this guy's name is really long. That's the joke. Like, that's not vocabulary. There's definitely words in there, but like that's not. Why learn Japanese? Is it just the weak way, or do you have something in specific in mind? The weeb way. I mean, it's a mix of things. The weeb way. Originally, I probably wouldn't do this now, but at one point I was interested in going into like translation, which again is a field that's kind of getting a little bit eaten by AI. But I imagine there's probably would still be opportunities for like interpreting, like, you know, when you have to translate live. But yeah, just like interests. I studied in Japan. I would like to live in Japan at some point in my life again. But yeah, it's the weeb way, but also just like, I'm sure you can turn the weeb way into work, right? That's how most hobbies and interests work, if you know? Yeah, technical translators, people that do patents. Yeah, like, I think it's not like the entire field is being eaten by AI, but it's definitely, like, narrowing some opportunities. But also, too, I think that there's also probably a level of, like, reliability, I think. Because, like, AI translations are notably, like, not reliable and never have been and likely never will be, you know? Yeah, I want to be able to play or read Japanese media for myself because some of my translations suck, but also it would be fun to go there and be able to read and speak. Yeah. Well, the other thing, too, is that, like, you realize sometimes, too, like, one of the things I realized when I was in Japan was just, like, how much manga exists. Like, other languages only see, like, the English-speaking world has only scratched the surface of how much manga exists. Like, because manga is very cheap to produce compared to other forms of media, right? Because it's usually, you know, it's printed on sheet paper, it's sold for a relatively low price, and it's usually made by, like, you know, obviously you need editors and stuff, and marketing budget and stuff, but, like, you know, the people who are making this, it's usually, like, you know, a mangaka and maybe a few assistants, right? It's compared to, like, an anime where you need, like, hundreds of people all hands on deck on it, right? So, because of that, there's just so much manga. There's just, like, insane amounts of manga. And you don't realize until you're there just, like, how much manga exists that just, like, never gets... Not even, like, unofficial translations. Like, just ones that, like, people are just never aware of. Like... So... To be able to, like, not have to deal with translations for that, like, regardless of the quality, like, regardless of if you think the translations are good or bad, like, you know, you have to... There's just so much manga out there. But yeah, the God of Manga made over 700 manga. Yeah, like, there is so much manga. Weekly manga should be illegal. That's a conversation for another day. We're not talking about the schedule. We're not talking about the schedule. We're talking about the existence of it. Like... And even there's stuff that, like, you know, was hugely popular in Japan that is not well known at all outside of Japan, or at least not in English, right? But yeah. Need to play the official Japanese Girls in Panzer for PS Vita. Yeah, same with video games, because, like, I'm also, like, I like visual novels a lot. And I know there's also, like, a lot of visual novels that, like, either never see an English translation or see an English translation, like, years and years and years after because they didn't think there was interest, which is understandable because I understand that, like, if you're a company and you want to release your visual novel in English, from a translation standpoint, that's, like, a way bigger project than trying to localize, like, I don't know, like... Well, I guess JRPGs also tend to be kind of text-heavy, but, like, it's compared to, like, a fighting game, right? Like, the visual novel is, like, visual novel translators, from what I've heard, it's truly a labor of love because it's a lot of text. You're basically translating a book, but I'm not sure what the going rates are for that because, like, again, visual novel English-speaking player base is, like, comparatively smaller compared to Japanese, and also in English it's considered a very niche thing, right? So it's essentially you're translating, like, an entire book for a very niche audience. So yeah, it really is just, like, you know, labor of love. Yeah, and also too, just, like, you know, like a fighting game, there's a fighting game that you like that, like, only exists in Japanese, you can still play that. Like, you might have to, like, look up a guide to figure out the controls and stuff, but, like, you know, as opposed to a visual novel where, like, if you can't understand the story, then all you got is just a bunch of pretty pictures, right? Yeah. Wooden clothes, shoes, language, manga. This took a wild turn. That's how the Eggy stream goes. This is the yapping stream. This is how it goes. When you're making your own fan sub. Yeah, when are we gonna get, like, a dedicated Eggy... I don't know. I've seen channels, it's always interesting, because there's, like, so many channels that translate, like, Japanese VTuber clips and they subtitle them in English, but I've also seen a lot of channels of, like, English VTuber clips that are subtitled in Japanese. Or I've seen that for Chinese as well. It's always interesting, too. Like, I feel like... Because it's one thing to see it for, like, Hololive, right? Or, like, other, like, big VTubers. I remember once, like, running into, in the wild, just, like, a Karagi clip subtitled in Chinese, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess if you just need, like, one really dedicated fan who speaks a second language to, like, you know, just make a clip and subtitle it. Gotta clip and translate the Eggy French segments. Yeah, I suggested my, like, bilingual English and Korean speaking friend go into translation because he's a great writer, and he was like, nah, there's no money in it. But, well, the thing is, there isn't. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think it's one of those jobs that is kind of like, people talk about, like, oh, AI is coming for our jobs, but I think translation is one that is kind of, AI is kind of wrecking it. And it's not because it's a job that the machines are doing better. Because the problem with AI translation is just that, like, I've heard of a lot of companies, what they'll do is that they'll be like, okay, instead of hiring a human translator to translate this thing, we're going to translate it with an AI, and then we're going to have a human go back and edit it to make sure that it like sounds okay. But the thing is that like when you do that, a lot of the time the human just has to go back and translate it from scratch because the AI did such a bad job that the human needs to be able to keep referring to the original. And at that point, it's like, might as well just like, you know, there's no such thing as a right translator. Yeah, that's true. But I also think like the other thing too is just that like language is not like a stagnant thing. And I think that's the problem with like machine translations. Because if you've ever use auto-translate on like any tweet ever, you'll notice that like there's a lot of things in language, like, you know, new slang, or, you know, slang that has certain implications, or memes, or, you know, there's some stuff that stays the same over time, but there's a lot of stuff that's just like constantly in motion, and I feel like that's what you can't really program an AI to do, is figure out new slang constantly, you know? Or like sometimes you do have to make like specific decisions in order for something to work. Like for instance, like if you've seen things like, for instance, like if you have a situation, like if you have like a scenario where a character is using outdated slang because they're supposed to be like, you know, old and cringy, and they're using outdated slang. If you don't translate the outdated slang in the original language to outdated slang in the new language, people are not going to understand what's going on, right? Like, I'll ever play a Japanese game where the translation just starts saying bread? What? この翻訳機はエギが悪者だとわかるのでしょうか? What did you throw into Google Translate? This machine translation doesn't know that Eggy is a bad... Did you say it's a bad person? Can this machine translate tell that Eggy is evil? Ugh. Shout out to Maruzensky. Pan. It fucked up pan and starting it saying it as bread. Fine. It had a screenshot, one of which was a innocent 6-year-old character implying she regularly goes to the betting center. What was it actually supposed to be? I don't know, because I've seen some things like, oh, also too, another thing you have that like machines are really, really bad with is character names that are written in kanji. Because you know how kanji usually they have like multiple different pronunciations for most kanji, right? So usually if a character name contains a bunch of kanji, it will go with like for instance, if there's two kanji that are usually put together, so you might have like two kanji and it's like usually this is pronounced like Yoko or something, right? But the thing is that like if the character name is written using kanji but they're not pronounced in the normal way, then the machine just completely just like ruins everything, or it'll be inconsistent. Or, oh yeah, it made me think a character was Ruferu, but it was Luffle. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is stuff written in katakana also it's really bad with. Because even with katakana names, like, there's some creative liberties you have to take when you're translating that to English. Like, I know there was some debate I've seen with Dungeon Meshi fans, because there's a character who is named, in some translations named Sissel, and in some translations named Thistle. And in Japanese, it's written as Siseru, or like Shiseru, but that's because the TH sound doesn't exist in Japanese. It's like the Eris versus Aerith kind of deal, right? Where it's like in Japanese it's Erisu, but that's because, again, TH doesn't exist in Japanese, so they have to sub in something else for the phonetics. So, yeah. Yeah, learning how to read names is an advanced language skill. Honestly, I've even done that for, like, English names. Like, sometimes when I run into, like, a textbook, and it'll be like, I'll be able to read like Japanese kanji names quickly, but then when it comes to like foreign names where it's like written in katakana, you're like John Sumisu. Ah, John Smith. Like, I feel like even it's like I speak English and I'm still doing this. Character names reminds me of when the Fire Emblem fandom spent years calling a character Ziguludo when his name was officially localized for the mobile game and his name came out as Sigurd. Yeah, Zigurudo. Sigurd. Yeah, it's like this actually makes perfect sense. Exactly. Free Eggy. I'm already free. I'm free. Hello, King Julian. I'm free. I'm literally free. I'm literally back on the internet. Eggy wa tamago desu ga. I can't read that kanji, it's too small. Something tamago deshou ka? Soretomo ii tamago deshou ka? Is she a nice egg or a bad egg? Is that rotten egg? Or a good egg? Egg. Egg. Rotten egg. Okay, that's what I heard. I guess oh, kusata. There we go. Kusata tamago deshou ka? Soretomo ii tamago deshou ka? Simply egg. Ii tamago desu. New Final Fantasy Tactics people arguing about names like Alphonse Dorakuro. Dorakuroa? That one feels pretty straightforward though. Are people actually like calling him Arufonsu? That's pretty clearly Alphonse, right? I also love how the kanji for mist, I think, is like 19 strokes, but like 2 syllables. Yeah, kanji are like that. The nice thing with kanji, though, is once you know the kanji, right? Because kanji have meaning, right? So sometimes it's nice because you're like the kanji used in a word can sort of gesture towards what it means, right? So if you're like, okay, I don't know what this means, but it has the character for car in it, so it's probably something to do with cars or automobiles, right? Which can be more helpful versus in English where like the spelling of a word does not tell you anything about what it means, right? How would you say penicillin? Penicillin? NiceEggy wa. Kanji I can't read. The E. Draclau versus Doraqua. Oh, Dorakuro. I think that would be Doraqua, wouldn't it? Like, also, I think you also have to like look at the context of the other names. I think that's usually what a lot of times they have to do is like, because like, to me, Doraqua is what makes more sense, right? But I guess if there's nobody else in the entire game that has a French-sounding name, then I guess it would be Draclau. But spelling in English can imply which language it comes from, but that doesn't get you very far. Yeah, it doesn't tell you like what it means, right? Like, you might see the word like chuchacho or chuchacho, which is like parking lot, right? And you'll see like the character for car when you're like, okay, so this is probably something related to cars, right? But like if you see the English word parking lot, it's like even if you know the word park, that doesn't actually tell you. Like a parking lot has nothing. I guess you park in terms of like the verb or like you stop, but like you stop what, right? I like Japanese brackets. Oh, do you mean like the quotation marks? Yeah. Eggy taipei wa tomerarenai ryoku something kasenai mono ni. I'm lost. What are you just throwing? You're just. Why does Japanese write dots like this? I don't know. You have to keep in mind with Japanese characters is that everything was originally done with brushes. So like, imagine trying to write something with a brush and you'll figure out why certain things are done the way they are. This is a tangent, but the new VA also has people debating if Marquis is Marquis or Marquise. Marquis. Oh, are they doing like Marquise? Because they didn't know how to yeah. No, yeah, those are quotation marks actually in Japanese. What you're looking at. Those little square brackets. They're not used as parentheses, they're used as quotation marks. Although, I don't know, I think another thing that I've noticed is that I feel like Japanese uses quotation marks a little differently than English does. And you see this in some translations when stuff gets automatically translated, is that like I think Japanese also tends to use quotation marks for emphasis, which looks a little goofy when you translate it to English directly. Because you might, like, I feel like I've definitely seen things, like, especially signs in Japan, where in Japanese, something would be, in parentheses. But when you, or like within those little like quotation marks, but like when you translate it to English and you keep the quotation marks, it's like if you had like a sign that, you know when you get those signs in English that say like keep off the grass, but then like grass is in quotation marks. You're like, what do you mean, quote unquote grass? Is that not real grass? Like what's wrong with the grass? You know? It's that kind of thing. Where like you can't quite, it's not one-to-one, right? Yeah, like grass. It looks a little goofy in English, right? It looks a little silly. You're like, what do you mean? Is the grass not real? Yeah. But like in Japanese, it's just like normal. Or you see that a lot with, I've seen that. Okay, you know when like they post like for VTuber graduations? I need to pull up an example. Let me pull up an example. Because I feel like when when you got like the white text on, or black text on white background. Let me pull up an example. Because like I think most of the time the companies know now well enough. Let me see. I'm trying to think of somebody who like graduated recently enough that their like the graduation statement would still be like fairly easy to find. But everybody like when they're graduating also like tweets 1 billion retweets 1 billion pieces of art at like 2 minutes to midnight. So I'm like I was like, Fauna graduated, but like there was also like an entire month in between. When did she announce it again? It was early December, right? Did she not retweet her own graduation announcement? Or maybe no, you need to find a termination. I think that's what we need to find, a termination. Let's look for Rushia. I'm assuming that would have been... No, because she was terminated, so that didn't get retweeted. Garnt. Because... like if you've seen like when somebody is like fired, when you get like that white black text white background, when you look at the Japanese versions, you'll notice that their names are usually in like the Japanese quotation marks, and I think that's just like a standard thing they do. But when they translate it to English, I feel like I think most companies now know not to do that when you translate, but I feel like I've also seen that happen a few times where like in English you'll be like quote unquote talent name, and you're like So, but it looks weird to English speakers, right? It looks really weird. Eggy, nice. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of, I guess that's how they have to do it in like an official capacity. But it does look weird in English. It looks really weird in English. I don't know, I think there's like a lot of like Japanese corporate speak that I think has gotten, like over time, I think VTuber companies have gotten better at translating. Like, for instance, I remember there was a lot of like the word support in Japanese, like sapoto, like as a loan word, they would translate directly as support, but like the thing is that in Japanese, support is when they use a loan word is more of like a, it's like in terms of like business, right? Like in terms of like, if you say we cannot support this person, it's like we can no longer provide, you know, like management services to them, right? Whereas in English, if you say I can no longer support this person, it's usually more of like a, it's not just like from a monetary standpoint, it's usually also like from like an emotional standpoint, right? Like they've done something wrong to me, I can no longer support this, you know? So like saying that like we are no longer supporting this talent, it comes off a little less harsh in Japanese as it does in English, right? Wonder if Eggy got hired by a corpo last week after the disappearance. Nope. Just lack of internet. Go cozy mode? Okay. But yeah, for the time being, I am still Eggy. We're no longer supporting Bimbo Stand. I mean, yeah, I guess also in English, you also got support in the sense of like technical support, right? Where it's like, your computer cannot, we are no longer supporting Windows 10, or like, your computer cannot support this program or that program. It's almost 2026. Ew! Ew! Yeah. Business. Oh yeah, apparently this is another one. I haven't yet run into an issue with this in the wild yet, but like, I remember hearing people talk about it a long time ago, is how like, a lot of Japanese corporate speak is about like, you know, kind of, because you know how like a lot of Japanese speech is about sounding like more or less humble, but there's a lot of times in Japanese corporate speak, there's a tendency to like kind of understate things, because that's just kind of considered the professional thing to do. So you'll get sometimes when things are directly translated though, that kind of like, that context doesn't carry over. So like I've definitely heard situations where like a Japanese company will say, it would be very difficult for us to do this. And when they say very difficult, they mean literally impossible. But then when they say, oh, this would be very difficult, when people overseas hear that, they're like, what do you mean it'd be very difficult? Like, we do difficult things all the time. Skill issue. Right? So, I don't think I've quite run into this, because I imagine there's enough translators who are, like, familiar with kind of, like, corporate speak in both languages to be able to be like, okay, this is what they mean when they say this. But then again, there's probably a lot of, like, English corporate speak that like doesn't carry very well to other languages. How do you translate the word like synergize, you know? How do you translate the word like half the things we say in meetings, like, you know, let's circle back to that, you know? Like, I'm sure there's other equivalents in other languages, but you know, let's circle back to that. Let's, yeah, sarcasm is way more normal in English. I think sarcasm exists in every language. It's just that it works a little different. I don't think I've ever said synergize in my life. Good, don't. I feel like it's kind of falling out of fashion. I think people have gotten too jaded about it.
Thanks for your continuous support of Chapeau. Unfortunately, we have to inform you EGGY is in hiatus due to her risk
Can we take this offline? Can we sync up?
oblivion you can
Can we,
understand.
just checking in? Just checking in. As per my last email. I'm sure other languages have, like, some equivalent of as per my last email, but... yeah, per my last email. There's gotta be a phrase in other languages that, like, captures that, like, per my last email. Like, just like that implication of, did you read what I said? Did you read what I said? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Like... as per just rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. Per my last email. You're probably right. You're probably right. It's like should of. Like it's incorrect, but people just keep saying it anyway. Including me, I guess. But yeah, no, I think I have to circle back that ping me by end of EOD. Yeah, I mean, I guess acronyms probably like because acronyms are probably like their words. Did you get any games from the sale? Oh right, I forgot there's a Steam sale going on. I completely forgot about that. Is anything I like actually on sale? Let me see. Steam. 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 Error code 106. Hold on, I think it's because my computer wasn't connected to the internet yet. Let's see. Is anything from my wish list on sale? Oh, a lot of things from my wish list are on sale. That's cool. Anything I've added recently to my wish list, is it on sale? Let's see. Shoot in Order is not on sale, which is fair because it like just came out like 2 weeks ago. A lot of my games that I have on my wish list are things that I've played like the demos for and stuff, but they don't actually have like a release date yet. I have 48 items on my wish list. I have relatively few items on my wish list. I just keep ignoring all of them. Because a lot of them are like things that I added a long time ago, but that don't interest me anymore, but I just never got around to taking them off. Or they're like games that someone's like, this would be good for collabs, and I'm like, okay, I'll think about it if it goes on sale. And then, like, I have Super Bunny Man and Castle Crashers on my wish list, but I have no intention of buying either of them. I think I just added them because somebody was like, oh, these are pretty common collab games, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll think about it. And then I just proceeded to not think about it. There's a few I might pick up, but I'm not like 100% sure. Because again, like a solid chunk of this stuff just like doesn't have a release date yet because it's all like, again, games I played the demo for, but like don't exist yet in a full form. How many canceled games you got on the wish list? I mean, I don't think I have anything canceled. I've had Nirvana, like the Valhalla sequel spin-off thing. That's been sitting on my wish list since 2020. Since July of 2020. That's the one I have. I'm holding out hope. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. I understand why it's taking a long time though. Like, if you go and, like, again, I know the devs had like a blog, and if you read it, you're like, okay, it's understandable why they're in the position they're in. And also, the head writer is also just really into Uma Musume, so there's also that too. I've seen people joke, they're like, yeah, you know, if Uma Musume, if the JP servers ever, like, go offline, then the game will actually come out. They're putting out a different game instead. Is it the same team, though? Because I know that, like... I know that, like, I think it was, like, different people from the same team. Because I know the team... Where were they based originally? Like, Venezuela? Like, they were in a weird situation. They were in a weird situation for a while because, like, they were living... Was it Venezuela? Not Venezuela. They were living somewhere... They were, like, based in South America. And then I think they, like, one of them moved to Japan, and then I think other ones were trying to move, and then, like, the team was kind of all over the place for a while, I think. So it's, like, kind of understandable. Metroid Prime 4 is coming out, so everything is truly possible. Silk Song came out, everything is truly possible. It's on the Suzuki-ban Games label, so it counts to me. Yeah, I just don't know if it's like the exact same, because I know there's more than one person on the team. So... If they're from Venezuela, makes sense. They were probably escaping for real. Yeah, I think it was Venezuela. It was somewhere in South America. I remember. Because I remember them also mentioning that, like, it also... Something about it there also affected their ability to, like... Because they had been asked... Because, like, you know, Valhalla was popular, they had been asked on a few occasions, like, do you want to, like, please come to convention in our country, or please come... And something about where they were was, like, stopping them from being able to do that. Like they weren't able to like, do like meet and greets or conventions or like a lot of stuff like that. And then COVID happened, which obviously I imagine probably scrambled even more stuff. But also like Valhalla is one of those things where it's like, I guess the urgency to finish Nirvana is not necessarily there at the moment, just because like Valhalla was so popular that like they can probably live off, you know, I guess the new game, but also just like all the collabs and all the merch that they keep making. Like, a combination of nobody, just Venezuela. They are from Venezuela. Okay, I was right. I was right. I was like, was I mixing up with another country? Did I forgore? Okay, it was Venezuela. Yeah. I've been waiting for my Ami Ami Jill Nendo reissue for 6 months now. Yeah, I don't think I've bought any of the merch. I have one, when I went to Otakuthon in was it 2018 or 2019? It was around the time that the Girls Frontline Valhalla collab happened. So I think Girls Frontline was like a sponsor for the convention or something, because I remember like in the program book there was just like a page that was just like a spread of like a few illustrations from that collab. And I think I like tore out that page and hung it up on the wall as like a poster. I think that's the closest thing I have. Because that's all there was at the time. That was before they started making like figures and Nendos and stuff, I think. Eggy, right? What a rare occasion. Hello, Jake. Wait, you've been here the whole time. What? I bought the Jill pop-up parade. Yeah, I haven't bought figures in a while. If anything, I need to like get rid of some of my figures. The most recent figure I have is I've been here? Was I forgotten? No, it's because you said hi. You said hi. You said hi as if you were just coming into the chat. I'm like, no, you were here earlier. I definitely remember you saying things. Yeah. I haven't bought figures in ages, though. My most recent one, I think, is like, it's still in the box. I never took it out of the box because I don't really have anywhere to put it right now. But it's like one that I got as a gift. I didn't buy it myself. Because I'm like, what would I even buy? Like, what would be an instant buy for me for figures right now? I'm just like trying to think. Like, Eggy, drink water? Okay. Because like I'm trying to think of like what would be an instant buy for me right now. XXL Eggy prize figure. Let me see. Cause like, if I go on okay, let me just like go on Ami Ami and see like if there's anything on the front page that hits me. Cause like, I don't know, I guess with a lot of figures, it's like if I got this as a gift, if somebody bought it for me as a gift, I would gladly accept it. But like, would I spend my own money on this? My Maduzensky figures trapped in Japan because of the post. No! Are you in the States? I know that also like shipping to the States is like complicated right now. But I am Canadian, so I don't have to think about that right now. What would like... Let me go into like pre-owned, because that's usually where I end up finding most stuff anyway, because like... Like, okay, what do I usually get? Is it Bishoujo figures, character figures? Because usually if I just go into pre-owned, I usually like... That's where I end up finding... Because that's where you find stuff that like is, you know, you miss the pre-order kind of thing. Okay. Maybe I'd be better off if I just like search things I like. None of the characters I like tend to get figures. I'm trying to think what would be like an instant buy for me right now. Maybe... 100 line. I think if Handy Line, because I know Handy Line's been getting a fair amount of merch, but it's been like a lot of like acrylics and stuff. I found that funny wrestling course in the silly horse racing game, Boy She Meet. Oh yeah, El Condor Pasa. No, actually, maybe I would consider TM Opera O. Is there any merch right now? I know there is a prize figure. There is a prize figure that I've seen a lot. I'm like, okay, I could live with that. Do you hear the Shibuya Scrum guy wants to make a VM with 200 ending? I saw that! I saw that! Are we just now gonna be living in, like, ending inflation? You're trying to outdo Kodaka. That's funny, because I'm pretty sure that guy actually did work on Handy Line. I'm pretty sure he worked on 100 Line. I think it's just, like, very funny, because I feel like we're gonna be getting ending inflation, you know? We're gonna be getting, like, there's gonna be another guy who's gonna be like, actually, I'm making a visual novel. It has 300 endings. Eventually we're gonna get, like, 1,000 endings, and then someone's gonna, like, get hospitalized from overwork, and then everyone's gonna be like, okay, maybe we should chill. That's the... I think it would be funny, though, because I know 100 Line was marketed on its multiple endings. I think it would be really funny if somebody made one of these games, but, like, did not mention in any of the marketing that there was multiple routes, and, like, didn't make it clear during the playthrough that there was multiple routes. So then you get people who are just, like, arguing with each other, who are, like, you know, don't realize that there was multiple routes until the end, and just be like, it can fracture a player base, and that's difficult to talk about without spoiling the endings. I think it would be funny, though, because everyone would be like, yeah, and then I liked when this character did this, and someone else would be like, I don't remember that happening. And then like, eventually people realize, oh, there's different routes. It would be funny. It'd be very bold, but it would be very funny. I think some movies and theaters have multiple endings. Yeah, wasn't there, like, the Clue movie that did that? Where, like, each theater would have, like, there was, like, 6 different endings, and different theaters would play like a different one. And it wasn't until, like, I guess because, like, internet wasn't a thing, it wasn't until later when people would talk about the movie and they would be like, oh wait, no, that wasn't what happened. What? I think maps in the 2010s kind of hit that point of it's the biggest map ever. Oh joy, I love spending 30 IRL minutes just to get to the next mission. Well, also too, I also think that, like, if you're making a game with 200 endings, like, how many of them are actually going to be, like, good and feel complete, right? Like, even Handy Line still has a few endings that are just like, yep, and then something bad happened and everyone exploded, right? You still gotta have a few in there that are like, yeah, we just had to fill up endings, right? We just gotta fill up endings. I hate you, Boruto guy 100 Line. Yeah, what was it, like, was it Box of Blessings? That was the one that everybody hated. I haven't played Box of Blessings yet. But I've heard nothing but bad things about it. People will say they like Box of Blessings, but they'll say that as, like, rage bait. The DVD came out and everyone saw that there was multiple endings. Yeah! My friend spent weeks complaining about him. If it's related to Boruto, it must be bad. The Boruto writer wrote a few... Because the other thing with 100 Line that I think is interesting is that obviously the whole game was supervised by the same guys, but, like, every route had slightly... Like, it had different people working on it. So there's some routes that are written by Kodaka, who's, like, you know, the main game's... The guy who's most attributed to in this game. But they had a number of other writers working on different routes. Which is great, because some people have actually found, like, they're like, yeah, I found out about this new writer that isn't really new, has actually been making stuff for years, I just never heard of him. Because they liked one route that they made. But there was also, yeah, some routes that if people didn't like it, they know who to attribute it to. I know some people were saying it'd be cool if he could get, like, other people working on 100 Line, because I know he talked about making DLC routes. Because there's some things that weren't explored in the original games that people were like, you know, it'd be cool if we could have that in there too. But yeah. I think it'd be cool if they got... my own bias. I want a Handy Line route written by Ryukishi Higurashi Umineko. I don't know what it would look like. I don't know what it would be about, but I think it would be interesting. Because I think they did meet. They did meet recently. They were both invited to like a convention in Spain. So they are aware of each other. I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool. You know what? Let's screw it. Let's get Nasu in here. Let's just like build the like ultimate visual novel team. You think he's busy writing DLC for what? Silent Hill? But yeah, no, if Handy Line got Nendo's, like, Eito Nendo, I will be there no matter what. I guess if VTubers I like, because, like, many, like, let me look in the HoloLive category, because I know there's already, like, a ton of HoloLive. I know they just announced Fuwamoku Nendos. Who exists as a figure right now? At least on AmiAmi. Because again, if you gave me like a figure of basically any HoloLive member, even if it's somebody that like I don't watch, I feel like if somebody gifted me a figure of like a HoloLive member I don't watch, I would just like start watching them as thanks. Like I would just work backwards. But yeah. Let me look in figures. Because I know there's like, most of EN has Nendos. One of these days I'll maybe get a Calliope Mori figure. I remember like, ages ago I wanted one. Because I had like a copy of one of her CDs and I was like, oh, I should make a display where I like, you know, prop up the CD on one of the figures. So maybe if I got like a Figma, but I don't know if the Figmas are like heavy enough to prop up a CD against and not like fall over, right? I feel like I need something a little weightier. Yeah. Fuwamoku Nendos are a diabolic idea. Can't buy one without the other. That's the case for like all their merch. Every Fuwamoku fan who buys merch, either they're very rich, or they're willing to spend a lot of money, or they just have to make a very, very difficult choice. Every time. Because they even have separate birthdays, right? Their birthdays are a day apart, so they have 2 separate sets of merch. Like, you gotta pay double. It's evil. You have to, I guess maybe, I imagine maybe if you don't have the money for it all the time, I imagine maybe some people are just like, okay, I will buy the Fuwawa merch this time, and then the next time they have some, like, merch occasion, I will buy the Mokoko, and they'll just, like, alternate. I guess I could see that, of just, like, you know, birthday, Fuwawa. Like, anniversary, Mokoko. You know, next, like, 3D live, Fuwawa. You know, next big event thing, Mokoko. Like, you just, like, go back and forth, I guess. So glad my Oshi is a single person. Every Oshi I've ever had is a single person. There's only one of them. Oh, there is a Kali Nendo and an Ami Nendo. Oh wow, the Rushia Nendo is only like $34. 3,480 yen. The Rushia Nendo. I don't know, it's hard to say because I remember thinking when VTubers graduate, I'm like, does that mean their merch is about to become insanely expensive because we know that this is expensive and like it's never going to be made again, right? Or is it going to become super cheap because it's like, oh, nobody wants this now? That's the thing, I'm just like, because I remember with Rushia thinking, I was like, okay, either the prices are about to go way up or way down. Because it's like either the demand is gone or the demand is about to go up because it's now considered like a rare item, right? Because they're like, yeah, they're definitely not making this ever again. So, yeah. I think Rushia merch bottomed out. Yeah, I wonder if like what Mel merch looks like. Because like, she was also like she also had her contract terminated, but it wasn't on like this as bad of terms as Ruchia was, right? At least publicly, right? I'm trying to see if there's any Mel's in here. Because I know she did have figures made at some point, right? Hachima for $6.80? Oh, okay, that's just because it's like $6 because it's one of the prize figures. Okay, that makes sense. I also know that there's some members, like I remember when I was in Japan, Suisei merch, secondhand Suisei merch was like insanely expensive. Because it just seemed that like all the Suisei fans just love holding on to their stuff. Like I definitely remember even going to stores. Like I remember going into a Mandarake where they were like, we are currently seeking Hololive plushies. If you want to sell us a Hololive plushie, this is the price we will pay for it. And like the Suisei one, the price they were willing to pay for like Suisei plushies was like double the price for like plushies of some of the other members they were looking for. It was like, it was wild. It was like, I don't know if, I guess Suisei fans are just like really eager to hold on. Cause yeah, I remember like when I was there, I was looking for gifts for my friends. Cause like Kane likes Suisei, right? So I was like, okay, I will find him a gift that is Suisei. And I felt like every time I would look through a display of like Hololive merch, I would get like Pekora baited or like Lami baited. Where I would see like blue and I'm like, oh, is this Suisei? And it's like, no, it's Pekora. No, it's Lami. Like I'm just like getting like blue baited. Let's see. Cause yeah, Shion Nendo is still pretty expensive. Aqua stuff is expensive, but I guess the demand is still there, right? Like they left on better terms. So like there's still fans around. Like the demand is still there, but the supply no longer exists. Interesting, I guess. Same with Gura stuff, probably. Although I guess with Gura it's a little more recent, right? So there might still be like... Because you know how sometimes like when a VTuber graduates, there might still be merch that comes out of them like a couple months, like almost up to a year later. Like I think there was like a series of like standees that came out... I think there was like a Sana standee that came out like long after her graduation just because it got like... It took a long time for them to like get it through the production, like to actually have them made and shipped. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely happened where like merch of a graduated VTuber comes out like much later just because like it got stuck in production and by the time it actually got released, you know. I have so many Kirby plushies, it took me a while to realize how overpriced they are. Well, again, high demand. High demand for Cubby. I don't know, I went into like one of those like Crane Game stores recently and it was just like, oops, all Kirby. Like, I don't know if the store just had like some special going on or something, but it was just like, oops, it's just Kirby. 100% Kirby plushies. Oops. My Sleepyhead plush came in yesterday. Yay! Nukara probably has merch coming. Didn't she already have merch coming? Like at launch? But yeah. One of my first Oshis went on a 3-year hiatus to a coven to become a nun. I should have got merch when I could. I'm sorry, those are just like, I know that it's... I know that every word there is true, but it's also just like an objectively funny set of sentences to put together. I'm sorry. Kirby is easy to mass produce. True, because he's just like a ball with a face, right? Round 1 is doing an Adult Club, like cool merch for a singer who's never shown herself. I wonder what they will do. I mean, she's never shown herself, but there is like a visual representation of her. Like there is like an illustration that they keep using, like a specific character design. Also, she has like a mascot character, like a Sanrio produced mascot character. It's like a little like black cat with like blue accents. There is stuff. They have made plenty of auto merch before. Let me see for like Hololive like plushies. Brand. Okay, sorry, I'm like going through the Ami Ami site again. They're like plushies, character figures. Because yeah, this is just for the stuff that's like tagged with Hololive, I guess. If you find out about these collabs, they find a local round one on socials. Round one has like one big account. Because usually I think round one, again, we don't have them in Canada, so but my best guess is usually like they roll stuff out countrywide when it comes to like merch. And if they don't roll stuff out countrywide, they specify they're like coming to, you know, locations in these states or something, you know? Employment. I mean, you know, when I have a job, I plan to still stream. I'll probably stream less because I will have less time. But like, I'm still going to stream. I'm still gonna stream. That's still gonna happen. Eggployment. I'm trying to be eggployed. Trying to be eggployed. One day we'll say about Eggy. I don't know. Because, like, I mean, I've already been through school, and I've been through work, and I didn't stop streaming for either of those things. So, I'm probably here to stay. Unless the internet goes out again. But, like, that's not a skill issue on my part. That's not an issue of dedication. That's an issue of, That's an issue of, technology. Huh. Yeah. It's always New York and California. Well, to be fair, those are the most populous parts of the states. You know? Issue of access. Exactly. Exactly. Like, again, if I ever stop streaming, you have to assume that either something incredibly good happened or something incredibly bad happened. Like, you have to assume either, like, I have landed, like, the career of a lifetime, and the downside is I can no longer stream, or you have to assume that, like, my life has just completely fallen apart and I am dying. Like, those are the two things. You just assume one or the other, and if either of those things happen, it will probably be very clear which one it is, you know? Like, an eggplant long enough, I ever stop showing up, just assume I'm dead? I don't know. Statistically speaking, sometimes I think about that. I'm like, out of all the people who follow me, are all of them still alive? It's like one of those things where, like, you know, when you think about, like, an internet friends that you had a long time ago. But, like, sometimes I think about, like, you know, all the people who follow me on Twitch. Like, are they all still alive? I've been streaming for, like, 4 years, just about. Like, that's plenty of time, right? My sub is set to auto-renew, you'll keep getting my money until they turn my cards off. Imagine somebody, like, leaving their will. They're like, I leave my, all my assets to my Oshi, and then all the family is like, what? I don't know, that seems like a cool story idea, actually. Somebody, like, very rich otaku dies, and he's like, I leave all my assets to my VTuber Oshi, but, like, the VTuber Oshi, like, graduated years ago, and they have to figure out how to, like, track her down. I feel like that would be, okay, that's actually a cool story premise. I think that would be fun. That would be fun. My friend has an agreement with me that if he dies, I get his manga collection, and I'm to burn his... I think, to be fair, I have had the thought of where I'm like, if I died suddenly, I should probably leave somebody in charge of, like, my frilly clothes and my anime figures. Because I know for sure my family would not know what to do with that stuff, you know? I leave all my money to NiceEggy, screw my family, they all get 1.5 pennies and a boot to the head. I know the guy who left his VTuber pet mascot to his friend in the group. Well, it's because, like, I know my family wouldn't know what to do with these things. And, like, I don't know. Just, I know they're going to bring it all to Goodwill. Like, at the very least, like, I don't know, my family can have, like, $20 off of a prize figure that they can resell, you know? You had it all rigged. Next of kin would be your parents, if not otherwise stated. They toss it in the trash. I don't think my parents would throw anything out, because they know how much I've paid for some of it. I just think they wouldn't know how to get rid of it, right? Because, like, again, all my J-Fashion stuff, a lot of it is very resellable, and somebody would buy it. Maybe some of it would have to go to Goodwill if absolutely nobody wants it, but, like, again, my nice brand, you know, somebody out there would take my angelic pretty dress off their hands, you know? But, like, would my parents know where to find those people? Would anybody in my family know where to find those people? I have some friends who might, but, like, would my parents know to call them? Would my family know to call them? Like, that's the thing where I'm just like, do I need to, like, leave a friend in charge of this? Like, I leave all my dresses to this person who will know what to do with them. Leave my Kirby plushies. A nice Eggy. Good luck figuring out what to use them for. There are many. Imagine being like, I leave you all my collection of this. No, you are not allowed to sell any of it. How your parents have cut up your idol performing dress and make blankets with a square fabric sewn in and sell to the... I've only worn that dress like once. I need to have another performance. Now that I actually have shoes I can move in. I don't know, I need to do another live performance because, like, since my first one, I've started working out and now I have way more, like, stamina and I can move around a lot more without, like, losing my breath. And I could do more. I could do it better now. I'm more in shape. I'm more in shape. Like... But yeah. I don't know, because even now, like, my mom has been kind of clearing out my room since I've moved out, and there's, like, a whole bunch of figures. Like, some of them I want to get rid of, and I kind of know what I want to do with them, so it's not like it's difficult, but, like, I have a whole bunch where it's, my mom's like, you need to put these away, but I'm like, I don't know what to do with it, you know? Yeah. You did a good job streaming with your last job. Sorry, I'm, like, going back and checking YouTube. With your last job, despite that rough commute and everything. Yeah, again, I still feel like I could have done more. Because I know, like, most VTubers I know also have a job, so, like, it's not impossible to work around. It's just kind of, you know. I guess now that I'm not limited by, like, the time of day, like, I just have to make sure I get enough sleep. But it's not like, you know, if I have to... It's not like I have quiet hours or anything. I've started to put money away to come see performance, assuming it's in Canada. I think I just need to, like, get better about being in contact with, like, the people who organize this kind of stuff. Because, again, I've also applied for other things. Like, there has been other conventions that are like, we are currently seeking performers, but then all of them say, like, no, never mind. I have not been accepted by any of them, but that's okay. I need to do... I don't know. I think I just need to do more singing in general. I've been watching a lot of karaoke streams in the past week. Or, like, not karaoke streams, but, like, VODs and clips of karaoke streams. I've been watching, like, a lot of them. From different VTubers, and I'm like, I want to get better. I need to improve. Eggy improvement. Because, like, I don't know, I've been watching, like, clips and VODs and stuff of, like, all kinds of VTubers. Of, like, all different singing levels. So, like, I was watching a lot of clips of, like, Liz's karaoke streams. And... I don't know, it was so weird. It's, I don't know. She's too good. I am intimidated. It's one of those things where, like, it's not that just that, like, she sounds good. It's that, like, she sounds like, you know when people say they make it look easy? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it sounds, she seems relaxed, right? Because there's other members, there's other Hololive members, when they sing, they sound good, but they also seem very locked in, right? But she doesn't seem locked in at all. She's just chilling, but she's doing everything perfectly. And yet she's chilling, and I'm like, oh, that's the kind of energy I need to have. That's the kind of energy I need to have. I feel like I get very locked in when I'm doing karaoke. But also she's like so confident about it that like, at one point I think she messed up the timing and my brain didn't even process it as her making a mistake. I'm just like, oh, the instrumental screwed up. Even though she's like probably working off like a YouTube instrumental as pre-recorded, I'm just like, in my mind like, yeah, I didn't even process that like that was her mistake. I was like, yeah, that was the instrumental was off. How could they do that to her? My local con beef Hololive, EN, and Face Connect like blacklisted. Wait, the con blacklisted the VTubers, or the VTubers blacklisted the con? Like the con screwed up in some way and the VTubers were just like, nope, not going back there. Make an egg plush on like a Build-A-Bear dress and make my own Eggy plush. By all means, commit copyright infringement upon me. I mean, like, don't make money off of it, or if you do, you should probably ask first, but... No, the VTubers never came back. Oh, they just, like, screwed it up that badly. Was it, like, an internet issue? Because I've definitely seen some conventions where they tried to have VTuber guests, but then they realize after, like, the convention starts that they do not have, like, the technical requirements in this location to properly do any kind of VTuber content. Rumors was the chairman just used the Hololive thing as an excuse to meet them. Oh, it's that kind of situation. I see how it is. I see how it is. I see how it is. I mean, granted, that's probably not the first time that that's happened with a convention, where it's like, oh, we just invited this person because we wanted to meet them. But... Hi. Hi. But yeah, to get, like... I feel like no VTubers at this point is practically, like... Because I've seen some people... I remember, like... I'm still in, like, the Anime North Facebook group, because I never left it. And remember once I checked, after I went to Anime North this year, and there was a lot of people who were like, why were there so many VTuber guests? And the answer is because, like, VTubers are an inexpensive way to bring in a lot of people. But... like... Is a copyright infringement if you, as a copyright holder, give permission? Well, it's more like, it's not just ask me, but it's also probably like, you should probably ask my art mama as well. You should probably, like... Especially if what you plan to make is, like, you know, not, like, an original piece, but it's, like, eggy.png, you know? Oh, yeah, my local con's still stuck in the Stone Age. They keep bringing in, like, Lost Wrestlers and Power Rangers. Well, I mean, regular Comic-Cons is different, but for anime conventions... Because the thing is with VTubers, right, is that you don't really have to pay for travel arrangements a lot of the time. If they're just coming in virtually. They bring in a lot of people. And, again, all you need to have is, like, you know, the technological and internet capabilities to set it up, right? This was an anime con. Oh, what? Huh? But yeah, I've also seen a lot of people who are like, you know, older con goers who are like, why is everything VTubers now? Why can't we get voice actors? And like, for this year specifically, especially for Anime North, I know there was some issues people were saying with like, the reason why we couldn't get as many voice actors was a mix of like, you know, ongoing voice actor strike, which meant that some actors weren't doing conventions. But then on top of that, I think Anime Boston was also happening that same weekend, which meant that like a lot of actors, like voice actors can only be in one place at a time, right? So a lot of voice actors were appearing there too. So like you had an even more limited pool of people to pick from. And I imagine too, like probably like bringing in guests from the US to Canada and the other way around is probably going to become a bit more complicated in the next few years. Due to various reasons. So yeah. Did I miss the Anime North complaining session? No, actually this is a session about people who complain about Anime North. But I remember, yeah, there was somebody in the group who was like, why was there like 25 VTubers? Because admittedly, Anime North did have a lot of VTuber guests, but that's because they invited like all of Phase Connect kind of thing, right? So it's not like they invited 25 VTubers and not anybody else. It's like they invited one VTuber company and it just had like, like a dozen VTubers, right? So yeah, that was kind of the... But I don't know. I don't know, people don't have to like VTubers. It does bug me when people are just like rude on purpose, though. I remember, like, sometimes, when you see, like, at cons that make announcements for their guests, and it's like a VTuber, and inevitably there's somebody in the replies that's like, VTuber, inevitably. That happens every time. I don't know. It bugs me. Because, like, I don't know. There's a lot of guests for conventions that I'm not interested in, but I don't, like, sit around going, ugh, 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 ugh. Yeah. You be real, Eggy's the only VTuber I watch. Just one VTuber. I mean, you can watch a second VTuber. That's okay, you can watch a second VTuber. Eggy, drink water? Okay. I think I need to put a cap on that review. It costs nothing to not say anything. Exactly! I've never even watched a VTuber. Hello, Nelson. He does not know what a VTuber is. Never seen one. I watch exclusively VTubers. I mean, I'm gonna be real, I wasn't really interested in watching streamers until VTubers. And now I watch, I think, a bit more of both. Like, there are now, like, more streamers I will watch that are not VTubers. Granted, some of them are people who used to be VTubers. So I don't know if that counts, but I feel like, yeah, I wasn't really interested in streamers at all before VTubing. But on the other hand, maybe that was also, like, a factor of, like, I had garbage internet that could not even load a live stream prior to 2020, so... Yeah. I did see some flesh troopers talk about VTubers being gooder bait, and I'm like, see, nice opinion, please go away. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, I don't expect everyone to, like, get it, or to even like it, you know? Like, I was talking to somebody the other day who's, like, into anime but not into VTubers, and he was just straight up like, yeah, I understand why other people would like it, but it's not for me. Like, I don't like it, but I understand why other people would. To me, it feels weird, but it's, I'm probably just not the right audience for it, you know? Yeah. To be fair, there's some tubers who toe the line hard. Yeah, but you could say the same for regular streamers, too. That's not, like, exclusive to VTubing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't watch streams at all, but I just came across my page and I was sort of like, sure, why not? And I've been here for... No, I think, for VTubers... I'm trying to think, because, like, I watched VTubers way back in the day. I've mentioned this. Like, I watched He's Not I, like, a long time ago. And then I kind of fell off when YouTube killed community subs, because I didn't know enough Japanese at the time to continue watching. So I kind of fell off, because there was, like... I don't know now. There's just nothing now. Good afternoon, Egg. Hello, Spiny. And then I came back when HoloLive English debuted. I had one friend who was like, oh, look at this VTubers. And then showed me a clip of Callie and Kiara. And that was that, and then I came back. And now here we are. I miss Luna. Yeah, see, I wasn't around for that whole era, but that's because, like, I don't know, at the time, I didn't really... In my mind, when I first started seeing other VTubers pop up, other than He's Not I, my first thought was like, oh, people are trying to rip off He's Not I. Like, I didn't really process that, like, oh, this is a different person. I was, in my mind, it's like, He's Not I was the only VTuber. She was the only one allowed to be a VTuber. And then later, I'm like, oh, well, I guess this is just, like, a whole thing now. Because, like, a lot of the people I knew who, like, continued being into VTubers are people who were, like, had way better Japanese than I did. Or were at the very least willing to, like... Because, like, I saw a lot of people tweeting about them. Because I followed a lot of, like, visual novel people at the time. And, they were all big into VTubers as well. But also they were willing to, like... I guess watch them as clips, or... they were more willing to, you know, sit through hours of listening to something that you don't understand, right? Yeah. I like playing games and having people watch. I'm not sure how to build a following. To be honest, neither do I. I mean, I feel like if I started fresh, there's definitely things I could do better now. But I am where I am now. And this is this I will continue being Eggy. Like, I watched Kiss Not Eye until she started releasing music, and then ironically now I'm into that. Well, now that's what she does more of, right? Like, ever since she's come back this year, it's been more, she's been more of like a musical artist than like a streamer. My goodness, what a nice Eggy. Hello, Daedric. But yeah. That's egg. Remember when you become Triple Clout Hololive new higher champion of the internet? Well, here's the thing. I think what I would have done differently, because something I've noticed when I see other VTubers who are like, they don't even have to be building like the biggest fan base, but are like building like a very dedicated fan base, is that like they know what they're about. And I think at the time I started, did not know what I was about. And I think I still don't really know what I'm about. Right? Because I look at someone like Fuamoko, right? And like, they're very successful, but I think a big part of that is that like, they know what they're about. You know? They know who their target audience is. They know what their target audience likes. They know what their target audience wants. You know, they know how to deal with other audiences that might overlap with their target audience. Like they know what they're about. And I think, I don't know, Crimson Ruse is on like the Holostar side, is I feel like a good example of that, where it's like, okay, he knows what he's about. He knows who he's trying to appeal to and what he needs to do. And like, you know, he knows what he's about. And I feel like I still need to figure out what I'm about. And again, I don't think that's like a sin, because I feel like a lot of people also didn't know what they were about when they started, and then they figure it out later. So, yeah. Just chillin'. Just chillin'. Just chillin'. Is that what I'm about? Just chillin'? Well, I don't know, because sometimes I think about, like, what am I about? I am about music, which I should probably do more. Because I do like doing that. I am about that. And what else am I about? Frilly clothes, but I feel like I don't talk about that enough either. What am I about? Singing and yapping is quite shrimple. Yeah, but you can't just yap. You can't just yap with no direction. Anybody with a mouth can yap. You gotta yap about something, right? You gotta yap about something. That's the... Or like games-wise, what am I about? Because like, I think like to go back to like Fuamoko, something I've noticed is that like, it's not just about like what you yap about or what you sing, like, or that you sing. It's that like I remember listening to Fuamoko's first karaoke and being like, noticing that pretty much all their songs were like well-known songs from anime from like 10 to 20 years ago. And some even older, right? Like, they know exactly, like, the demographic they are zoning in on, right? And again, it sounds like very cynical, but like, it's also just like, you know, again, knowing what you're about. Like, or like, you know, every person who does karaoke, usually they will have like a specific kind of genre or type of song they like to sing. And some of that is personal preference, but some of it is also like, okay, what do I think other people want to hear, right? And again, it sounds very cynical when you put it that way, but it also is just like, you know, how can I do the best that I can? Or how can I, you know, give people what they want to see? I don't know, maybe I'll do karaoke tomorrow. If I stream tomorrow, which I probably will, I guess maybe I'll do karaoke. Maybe. We'll see. Probably. I've been trying to do a karaoke stream, I swear, for like 2 weeks. But every time I wake up, like, either I'll like... Actually, maybe... Maybe tomorrow... What if I did like an evening stream instead?
It's jinxing you.
Or like an afternoon evening stream. Because I feel like sometimes when I wake up, I feel like when I wake up, my voice isn't always, like, in the best singing. I feel like whenever I want to sing, it's often in the afternoon or evening when I've been awake for a few hours. I feel like sometimes when I wake up, I'm not, like, in the best vocal state. You know, because, you know, you've been sleeping. I should probably start turning on my humidifier. I think it might be getting to humidifier season now. But, you know, you've just woke up. You're like, your voice is like, ugh. You haven't had water for 8 hours because you were asleep, you know? I love an evening stream because tomorrow won't be available. Yeah, I mean, because usually I do morning streams because they work for most people, right? Because, like, you know, 10, 11 a.m. EST. It's a little early for PST, but, you know, for people who, I guess, are just waking up. But, like, it's a time that I've seen works for people in Europe. Because it will be, like, you know, afternoon. And it works for people in, like, you know, Asia side, right? Because that's, you know, it's kind of late. Not late, it's not, like, super late, but it's, like, you know, it's the evening, right? So, like, it's, statistically, it's when the most people are awake or at, like, in a position to watch, you know? Yeah. The voice tends to be lower in the morning. It's not even just about lower, it's just kind of, like, rougher. It's about, like, if somebody, like, if you got out of bed and then somebody instantly said, okay, now go lift weights, you know? Even if you warm up a little bit, you still might be a little, you know... It's like if someone just, like, dragged you out of bed and was like, okay, work out now. And I say that and I'm like, okay, to be fair, people do that. But it's like, I don't know, you need a little time to, I don't know, I guess it's more like if you were, like, dragged out of bed and someone's like, okay, now solve these math problems. Right? You're not gonna be at your, like, working at peak, you know, your peak of your capabilities. You need, like, a little time to warm up. Yeah. My band leader said he used to eat potato chips to help his voice. I've seen some people say they eat, like, salty foods. Before singing, I was told to, like, avoid chocolate, avoid caffeine, and avoid milk. But I also know that that's, like, your mileage may vary, because I've seen other people be like, yeah, I drink milk before, like, every performance, and I've never had any issues.
De l'Ultimate Trial. Cold water shower and a cold Canadian winter batted dab.
No. No. Yeah, my old piano teacher used to say to learn a piece so well that you could play it if someone woke you up in the middle of the night. Yeah, but, like, reasonably speaking, you only have so much time to learn these pieces. Some people drink coffee right before they go to bed. I've done that. I don't know. Caffeine only sometimes works on me, I think. I feel like it has more to do with, like, the variety of the drink. Because I feel like something I've noticed is that, like, coffee and tea don't work on me, especially if they're served warm, because then it's just like, ooh, nice hot drink, and then you just, you know, you feel nice and calm because of warm drink. Like, I remember there was once when I was in university where I was, like, staying up late to try to finish an assignment, and I was like, okay, I will drink some tea, because surely this has caffeine and it will give me energy. And it was black tea, it was, like, caffeinated tea, and I drank the tea, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm sleepier now, because the tea was nice and warm and comforting, and I was too cozy. But I don't know, I guess if I'm sleepy enough, energy drinks might do something. I wouldn't say I feel energized, but, like, I feel something. But maybe that's also because energy drinks are usually served cold, right? Like, room temperature cold. You don't usually have, like... I don't know, I'm sure someone out there is drinking, like, hot Red Bull, but, like... I don't... That's not, like, the common way, right? I don't even know how hot Red Bull would taste. I think that would be terrible. That would be like a punishment drink. Some people drink coffee right before they go to bed. My grandma's one of those people. Although, to be fair, I think that's also because she has this, like, jar of instant coffee that she's had around for a long time that she's been trying to get through, but... yeah. Hot Red Bull, wouldn't that separate the syrup? I don't even know what would happen. Like I said, I feel like that would be, like, a punishment drink, right? That'd be like a thing that you... Like, you know how like Pilk was like a punishment drink a few years ago? I feel like that would be like a thing you would drink, like, in a subathon. If you're like, you know, 1 bajillion subs and I will drink hot Red Bull, you know? Supposedly hot Dr. Pepper's really popular. Well, wasn't Coca-Cola also originally supposed to be served warm? So, like, I know that, like, these kinds of drinks served hot is not, like, completely out of the question. But, like, I don't know how Red Bull would work out. Glasses on? Okay. Actually. Punishment. I drink Pilk for fun. What was it? I think it was Bodega. There was definitely a few people I knew at the time who tried Pilk as a punishment, but then ended up kind of low-key liking it. I never had Pilk. I did not punish myself in this way. I don't know if I've ever punished myself in any of the, like, usual VTuber ways. Never did Pilk. Never did the spicy chips. Never did anything spicy, really. I'm not actually a big spice handler, so I feel like it would be very boring because I think the amount that you would need for me to consider it a punishment would actually be remarkably low. Eggy, drink water. Ah! There's one chicken dish that's Cook and Coke. I think it's Chinese. My Chinese friend made it for me. It's like, I was told that I've seen a lot of recipes for like Korean like bulgogi and stuff that apparently use Coca-Cola. Apparently it's like actually a pretty good like meat tenderizer. I've definitely seen recipes that call for like Coca-Cola to be in the marinade. I guess especially if it's supposed to, I guess if you want your marinade to have like a sweet quality to it, it works. Not the first Pilk Club PC. Ugh. Ugh. But yeah, no, I didn't turn out right because she used Diet Coke, so it doesn't caramelize like sugar. Oh, yeah, I guess that would matter. But yeah, I think I'm. I don't know. I don't think you come to the Eggy stream to see the Eggy be punished for sins. Presumably because I don't really have any. I don't have very many. My grandma made a ham with, I think, Coke on it, and it was actually peak. I mean, again, it's like... Because, like, there's already a lot of marinades that ask you to put, like, sweet stuff in it, right? Like, there's already a lot of stuff that asks for, like, sugar and stuff, right? So, like, it's not, like... Not, like, the biggest change there, right? Become addicted to energy drinks and do a withdrawal stream and have the Morocco experience. That's not a punishment. I don't have... Again... I don't think you come here to see the Eggy be punished. I just don't think that's what people are here for. Because, like, the only thing I could think of maybe I would want to do is, I remember a while back, I don't know if they still sell these. There was this one brand of ramune that I would see at Asian markets sometimes, that they did this line of, like, weird novelty flavors. I got one that was matcha, and I don't know, it was actually pretty okay. I wouldn't drink it every day, but it wasn't the worst thing. But they had other flavors that were like ramen, or like, I think there was like soy sauce or something. Like, they had like weird novelty flavors. Maybe I would drink one of those as a punishment. But yeah. Lies, I enjoyed the old man fight in Deltarune. That's gaming. That's different. That's not food. I don't know. I don't need punishment food. Drink my lord. Fair. Okay. Yeah, but I've already done that. Every time I've been to, like, any event where Bloom showed up, we got... He has brought the malort. We are punished for being in his presence. I just accept the soy sauce in the middle of the night when I'm in goblin mood sometimes. He craves that mineral. I I mean, there is that one thing. I remember there was, when I used to listen to K-pop, I feel like this was like a thing that they would do on like TV shows sometimes, where they would have like kind of like a Russian roulette kind of thing, where they would be like you have 5 people, you would have 5 cups, 4 of them are filled with like Coca-Cola or like not root beer, but like some kind of like dark cola, like dark soda. And the cup would not be clear, or the cup would be clear but in a way that you couldn't see like if the liquid inside was carbonated or not, right? So there would be like 4 cups of like Coca-Cola, and then like one of the cups would be soy sauce, and then everybody takes one, and it's like, again, it's like the typical like Russian roulette kind of thing. Or I guess that's a spicy takoyaki. I remember there was one time we did a spicy takoyaki with some friends when we were at like kind of like a Asian like night market kind of thing. We did a spicy takoyaki thing where and none of us, I think the spicy takoyaki was mild enough, or whoever got it was like, you know, powerful enough when it came to spice that we could not figure out who actually got the spicy takoyaki. Like, it was just like, either the takoyaki itself was not that spicy, or, again, whoever got it was just like immune to spice, because we're like, was yours spicy? And we're like, not really. It's like, what about you? Not really. We couldn't actually figure out, we're like, did they even give us a spicy one? She eat a very tasty and amazing 3-course meal. Eggy's punishment is that she has to go to a restaurant. You can do the bean boozle. Nah. Here's the thing with the bean boozle, is all the normal flavors they've picked for the bean boozle also kind of suck. That is my hot take. Like, it's like, what's that one of the options where it's like, oh, this could be like booger, or it could be butter popcorn. The problem is I also hate the butter popcorn flavor for Jelly Belly. So I lose either way. I lose either way. Fruity fruity. It's crazy how fast spice tolerance can build up. I go through hot sauce way too fast. Again, my problem with spice tolerance that I found is just that, like, there's foods I can take that are spicy in small quantities. So, like, I have this issue with a lot of, like, tteokbokki when I go to Korean restaurants, is that I like tteokbokki, but the problem is that, like, if they give you a lot of tteokbokki, then it's like, it's tasty for the first few bites, and then after a while you're like, oh god, I will need to finish this plate, and the spice builds in your mouth after a while, right? So by the time you get to the end, you're like, this is painful. I don't like this anymore. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, you know? My mouth can handle spice better than my stomach. I don't know, I think my stomach is pretty good with that kind of stuff. I think my stomach, I won't say I have like a strong stomach, because that's the kind of thing you say before your stomach gets completely destroyed, but like I have like a reasonably good stomach, I think. I think the only times I've had like stomach problems after eating something, it's usually just been like human error. Like I ate something that I shouldn't have, or like I ate in such a way that I shouldn't have. Like I can't say I've gotten like tummy ache, or like, I don't know, I think the last time I remember getting like tummy ache from something is like, I remember going to a restaurant once, like an all-you-can-eat place with somebody else, and again, I was like, at the time, I was like trying to lose weight, and so I was spending a lot of time like not eating very much, right? And then I went to all-you-can-eat buffet, and I was like, okay, this is my special day, I will eat as much as I can, I will just eat a ton. And then I had like really bad like kind of indigestion afterwards, and I don't think it was anything I ate. I don't think it's like the food was bad, because again, the other person I went with didn't have any issues, right? So I was like, I think it was just that like I ate so much that I had eaten more in one day than I had eaten in a long time, and my body was just like, ah, god, we don't know what to do with this is so much food, what do we do with this? Like I think it was just like, again, my body just being like, oh god, like what do we do with all this food? We haven't digested this much food in weeks. So yeah, I don't know, that hasn't happened to me since. I think since like combination of stopping dieting and also dieting in a more sustainable way. But yeah, so that was a thing. That I think that's the only time where I'm like, oh, maybe my stomach did a bad thing because I did a bad thing to it. Do not starve. I am not. I am eating an adequate amount of calories. Like, if anything, what I'm doing is a lot more sustainable than what I was doing before. Like, I saw a dietitian. I literally saw a dietitian, and then she gave me, like, here's the meal plan. And then I followed the meal plan for a while, and then once you follow the meal plan for, like, a little while, then you just kind of get used to it. And then you're like, okay, I now know what kinds of things I should be eating. You know? And then you kind of stop craving as much the stuff that you shouldn't be eating. Are you eating your recommended intake of fiber? Are you getting all the necessary nutrients? I don't know. Yesterday I had soup. Does eating blueberries count? Blueberries are pretty good. Blueberries are pretty good. Yesterday I had soup because my dad is visiting and my mom sent some soup with him. So I got to have soup, and I'll probably have more soup today because I ate half the soup yesterday. So I guess I'll have the other half of the soup today. It's squash soup. I could probably make it at home. I just need to add, it's just a little bit more work than I keep wanting to put in. Because I don't know if my mom has like a distinct recipe for the squash soup that she makes. Or if it's just like, I don't know, put, you know, about yay much butternut squash, about yay much ginger, you know. But it is yummy. It is yummy. I like soup. Soup! 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 If you cannot eat, I recommend soup! High basil chicken goes hard as a diet food if you have a basil plant. Only unhealthy thing is the sodium. Yeah, again, or even just like, there's a lot of stuff that if you make like a few adjustments, can actually work. Like, it turns out you don't have to completely give up on pasta if you just have whole wheat or like, I guess, more enriched pasta instead of just like the regular. Which again, for the longest time I did not like whole wheat pasta, but then now I've kind of warmed up to it again as an adult. Maybe I'm old, maybe that's my problem. Dieting became easier because I became old. Soups are also super convenient. Soups are good. You need to give up oil. Well, unfortunately, you do need oil, Faye, in your food to make sure it doesn't, like, set on fire when you put it on the stove. But yeah, oil is pretty dense, but also you do need a certain amount of fat. You do need that. And you also need a certain amount of oil when you cook food, because otherwise it will catch on fire. Boiling exists. Yeah, but I'm not gonna boil everything. You can't have soup for every meal, you know? No, I'm trying to think of, like, if there's anything I cut. Again, the main thing it's not even like I cut it completely, but, like, I eat, like, 90% less potato than I did before. Says you. Slacking Spiny has somehow figured out. Rice doesn't require oil to cook. Yeah, but that's rice. I'm not just gonna eat boiled vegetables for, like, 6 months until I hit my goal weight. That's... Because, like, the more important thing about dieting, that was, like, another thing that's been pointed out to me, the more important thing is, like, can you stick to it, rather than is it super effective? Because, like, the things that are, like, the most effective are not necessarily the things that are easy to stick to. So, like, it's better to have something that is sustainable, but will take longer, than to have something that, you know, might get you there faster, but is gonna be, like, insanely difficult to do, right? Not true, my great-uncle ate only 2 things in his entire life. Hot dogs and PB&J sandwiches every meal every day for years on end. I mean, I know there are people like that, but... I need a variety of foods. But yeah, sustainability is key. Because the only thing that I eat less of, I can't even say I cut it completely, but I eat less potatoes. Not that I was a huge potato eater before, but now, like, if I'm going out, I don't have French fries as often as I used to, right? Or if I do have French fries, then it's, like, a much smaller amount, or I'm like sharing it with somebody else, right? If I have an option to take that isn't French fries, I'm more likely to take it now. Like, I think that's probably the one thing I can say I, like, didn't cut completely, but definitely reduced. Because the other thing, I guess, with potatoes is that it's hard to find a substitute for potatoes. Because, like, for instance, like, desserts, right? Like, you can find lower calorie alternatives to a lot of desserts, right? Like, if you want something frozen, like, you can have, you know, I would sometimes take, like, some Greek yogurt and put it in the freezer instead of, like, ice cream, right? Or you can find, like, a popsicle that is, like, lower in sugar, right? And you can have that, and that will, you know, satisfy your craving for something sweet and frozen, right? But, like, it's kind of harder to substitute. Like, what's a lower calorie substitute for, like, French fries? It doesn't really exist, right? That's just kind of how things are, right? But that's okay. Yeah, sustainability is key. You have to be better. It has to be something. I really want to try finished salmon soup. Sounds really healthy and delicious. Too bad salmon is expensive. Salmon is so expensive. Like, even compared to other fish. Like, I always thought of salmon as default fish, but every time I go to the grocery store, it'll be like, tilapia, like $5 for the amount in this container. And then salmon is like $20, and you're like, excuse me? I kind of want to try, there's a few salmon recipes that I want to try, because they would be yummy. But also, salmon is so expensive that I'm just like, if I buy this and screw this up, that's like $20 ruined. You know? Yeah. Tilapia and cod are your default fish. Usually buy salmon in those, like, frozen pre-portions. Well, the thing is like, what I want to make, there was this one recipe that my mom would make that was like, it was like salmon baked in the oven with this, like, marmalade sauce. And it was really nice. I really, really liked it. She used to make it pretty often. But I'm like, I don't know if I can justify making it for myself just because salmon is so expensive. And, like, I know the batches that I don't know where my mom was buying her salmon. I imagine she was probably getting it at Costco. Like, I imagine they probably had some kind of good deal on it there. But I'm just like, for the resources that I have for myself, like, salmon is expensive. Fish. Best time I've ever had is just salt and pepper with the fish button on my air fryer, then add any sauce after. Yeah, there's a few recipes I want to try. Mostly ones that are like Japanese ones with like a miso kind of sauce. But I get like regular Walmart salmon. I haven't checked Walmart. The last time I bought meat at Walmart, it was like so overpriced I was wondering if I was being scammed. I bought like beef and chicken there, and I remember like standing at the checkout after I paid, and I'm like, should I become vegetarian? Because it was like so expensive. And I was like, am I being ripped off? It was like, yeah, that's just how meat is now. I was looking at the price, I'm like, you know, I could get like a carton of eggs and a block of tofu for like the price that I just paid for this. Like, should I become vegetarian? I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if like if I want to become. I don't think I could be vegan. But like on the other hand, I can't say I eat that much meat already. Because a lot of the stuff I eat, like I definitely eat like meat products. Like I still eat like eggs and dairy. But like, I feel like I don't eat meat that often. I feel like if I need a protein, I keep going for either for like eggs or for like, I guess like protein, like fish or edamame or I feel like what I'm saying is I don't eat a ton of meat. I feel like I eat meat more when I go out to restaurants than I do at home. Like when I'm cooking for myself, I feel like I prefer to like use other stuff. Eggs are not vegetarian. Are they? I thought it was just like no meat. I guess vegetarian, but I also have eggs. Yeah, Greek yogurt is good for protein. Yeah, I still have dairy, definitely. Eggs are vegetarian, but they're... Okay, so eggs are vegetarian. Because I always thought vegetarian was just, like, no meat, but you still have, like, meat products. And then vegan is, like, nothing that an animal has even looked at kind of thing. And I know there's also, like, pescatarian, which is, like, no meat, but you do eat fish. And I imagine there's probably another word for, like, you don't eat, like, you eat poultry, but not other meats. But yeah. I bought protein oats without noticing they say not to microwave them. Disaster. Wait, why not? Do they have... Are they full of metal or something? Do they explode in the microwave? Eight-hour yapathon? It's only been like 3.5 hours. I might end soon. I will need to eat. I have to go to Japanese class tonight. So I have to make sure I leave on time for that. They foam and boil over and make a mess. Oh, it's like that. I can't say I've ever had protein oats. I've had protein shakes. Protein shakes are so expensive. Sorry, side tangent. I bought protein shakes the other day because there was this one brand that when I would go to the gym, they would have them in the vending machines. And I would buy them, but I'm like, these seem kind of overpriced. I'm sure that there's probably somewhere I can find them for cheaper. And then I found them for cheaper in a store, but it was like not that much cheaper. Like at the gym, they were selling them for, I think it was like $4.50 for like a bottle. And I was like, that's probably like an inflated price. And then when I found them in the store, it was like, I think it was like $18 for like a pack of 4. Which, like, what's 18 divided by 4? It's about the same price. It's about the same price. So I think these are just like expensive. And at this point, I might as well just continue getting them. Like, if I'm gonna get the pre-made ones. Some powders are great deals. I guess, I don't know, I looked at the powders and they were also all like $40. And I imagine it's probably like a better purchase because like, you know, this is $40 for something that can probably make you more bottles than if you just bought them on their own, but... I don't know, I feel like every time I've had protein powder mixed into something that's made at home, it's been like really gross and yucky. Whereas like the pre-made shakes seem to have like some semblance of a good texture. Because I'm not looking for like meal replacement, I'm just looking for like thing to drink after I go to the gym kind of thing, you know? But yeah, like, at least at the gym, at this point I'm like, I might as well just keep buying them from the vending machines at the gym, because even if they're like more expensive, they're not that much more expensive, and also they have more flavors. Like, they had like this like cookies and cream flavor that I have not seen at any store. The stores seem to only have like the 4-packs for like chocolate and vanilla, but like I know there are other flavors because the gym vending machine has them. Yeah, they taste terrible. I just chug in my new protein. Maybe I'm just like annoying and I have the audacity to want my protein shakes to taste good. I like the cheap Winero protein bars. I used to have protein bars more often. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same as a shake though. Maybe just because it's like takes up physically less space. Or because I can eat them so fast, it just doesn't feel right. But yeah, I just need like a thing I can have after the gym. Also the protein bars I think usually have more calories than the protein shakes. So there's that too. But yeah. Just get sponsored by Huel. Nah. Eggy protein. But yeah, I am protein. Anyway, what was I talking about before I got like sidetracked by how expensive protein shakes are? I'm like going back through chat. I've seen cereals. Sorry, soup. I think we're talking about protein foods with added protein. Because I've seen protein cereals, but I haven't tried any of them. The thing is, I think, is just that, like, there's so many things that have added protein now that, like, I don't feel the need to have it in my cereal. I've had added protein Greek yogurt, which is a strange thing to add additional protein to, because it's already kind of known for having a pretty good amount of protein. Protein pasta is this game. I haven't tried protein pasta. I've tried enriched pasta with like additional fiber. I feel like it's usually fiber that I'm looking for. So I feel like protein is like easy to find, right? It's so easy to find stuff with added protein. It's added fiber. You gotta think about. You're talking about jeans being uncomfortable for some people. Bro is like an hour behind. But yeah. Protein. Protein. And you have to drink water, that too. Talk about our everyone is an hour behind. You're chatting with me from the past. We're gonna go full circle at this rate. It might be right o'clock. It might be right o'clock. What time is it? It's 3 p.m. And I want to be able to eat and then be able to leave on time. So I think it might be right o'clock. Who is unrateable? Who is rateable? Aira's on doing Pokemons, and Ocker's on doing something. Did you get that router fixed yet? UFO 50. What is this? What is this? I'm not familiar with this game. What is this? This is advertising. May I please? Okay. It's a minigame collection. Okay. Yeah, we can raid into Ocker. We can raid into Ocker. We can raid there. Let's go. Raid. Stalker. Ocker. Here we go. So I will be back tomorrow with something. Next week we'll be back to normal. Next week we will be back to Zhonging, and we'll be back to Ocarina, and we will be back to, you know, all the usual stuff that I'm usually doing. I'm sorry for like the last 2 weeks of nonsense. Hopefully things will be normal from now on. I have other things that I want to do. October is going to be a really weird month. October is going to move very quickly. Because I have a lot of things I want to do, since I don't know if I'm going to get to do them in November, and there's also might be things happening in November too. So, there's next 2 to 3 months are going to be like moving at maximum speed. So I'm like, ooh, I need to get used to that. September was supposed to be lock-in month, but then I didn't lock in enough, and then my internet went out. So, maybe October will be lock-in month. Hopefully. October, November, December. We're locking in. But until then, we are going to see Ocker. We're gonna Awk in. We have to Awk in. Let's just say Yap Raid. We'll just go with Yap Raid. So, I'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, please watch Ocker. And also in the meantime, look at my cool end card, and thank you for being here, and thank you, bye-bye. Whoop!